I believe you are quite aware the situation has changed since last we spoke.
The truth is still the truth, and a bargain is still a bargain.
And Mayor Cermak is now deceased.
Yes. What does that have to do with our contract?
I do not recall signing a contract with you, Mr. Heller.
We had a verbal agreement. I'm sure my uncle here will attest to that.
Nathan, please. You're being most rude.
But Dawes reacted just as I knew he would.
Lewis, as a family man, I quite understand your position. As for you, young Mr. Heller, you should not have spoken to the papers of this. It was a breach of confidence.
Nothing was said of our arrangement being a confidential one. Besides which, I was in fact discreet.
How so?
I didn't tell the reporters why I was offered the job at the fair. Void our deal, sir, and I'm going to be put into an embarrassing light. I will have to inform the press of your involvement.
This reeks of blackmail, young man.
It reeks of business. Our arrangement is binding in my view, and if you feel differently, I'll be noisy about it.
Nathan.
I'm not a big wheel like you, General, but us little wheels can get good and goddamn squeaky when we don't get our grease.
My secretary will have contracts ready for you to sign this afternoon at 4. Please return and sign them. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
From Pretoria. Is everything all right? People talk, say things.
Hello?
Why didn't you tell me it was out of order? I suppose you think that's funny.
I'm not allowed out the front door.
Who says you weren't?
Them.
Who?
Them.
It was terrible out there. I could hear breathing.
We told you.
Are you worried about the man?
They hate us. That's the truth. They want to kill and torture every one of us. You can see it in their eyes.
Come now, Frederick. Do you dream about unholy things?
I really don't like what's going on here. There's something wrong, and that's a fact.
Wait. What did you dream last night? This manifestation of evil. You must be delivered from evil.
Hey, Rob. The feed's not going through YouTube yet.
Hello, and welcome to Midnight Metal. Robin Meyer Burnett and Dave Parker, they're fucking metal.
No, they are.
Midnight Metal, Midnight Metal, Midnight Metal.
Good God.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it's I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, Robert Meyer Burnett, and I can't believe it. It's just, I mean, who would have thought that Dave Parker, who denied us, who left us all by our lonesome, who said he would never come back to this show, called me up. He said, hey, Rob, I think I've got a good reason to come back to the show. I have a guest. Maybe the best guest we've ever had, and we've had a lot of great guests. Somebody I haven't seen in a long time who I greatly respect. We should bring this guest on and all come back to the show. I'm like, oh, great. You have to have somebody of note, somebody special, somebody amazing, somebody who has an amazing wife. It takes that for you to come back to Midnight Metal? Is that what it takes, Dave? Is that what it takes?
It absolutely does take that, Rob.
Well, God damn it, Dave. You know what? I appreciate it.
You know, you never offered me a big enough guest. You never offered me a big enough guest to bring back on, and this is legendary.
Totally legendary. I mean, you know, and a nice guy too. Although I haven't seen him in a while, he might be a total dick now. I don't know, but he was always a really nice guy.
I got this sweet shirt from him today, so
yeah, I got no swag at all. No swag at all. That's all I'm saying. To me. So this is Midnight Metal 96 or 97. To be honest, who knows?
Who knows?
I don't. You know, and really, in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, does it even matter? Dave, you
It's
almost
more
screwed me up
metal
at the
if it
beginning. I had
doesn't.
to you were saying we weren't getting a feed, and I was like, wait a minute. Is the White Devils trailer playing, or is it not? Again,
It
I
is
don't
playing
know.
now. Well, it is playing for them, but since we have a nice delay of a couple minutes. But anyway, they'll catch up. Everyone will catch up.
Everybody catches up. So the real question is, are you going to intro our guest? You want to give him an intro, tell him tell the audience who our guest is, what he's done, why he's important?
Oh man, no, me.
We
Me
can.
introing you. Me introing you. Yes. Though you could go a little louder.
We could.
Yes, that's Rob's feed thing.
You have to turn your headphones off thing.
No, it's not that. It's just you sound underwater. So there we go. We're getting there. As always, there's a little adjustment period with Midnight Metal every time, or else it wouldn't be us.
Because it
It'd be
changes.
raw. But Rob, this guest, I've been lucky enough to call a friend for a long time. Probably one of the most talented people, writer-wise, that I know. He's a writer. He's graphic. He's a writer. He's going to be able to tell you better. He's a writer. He works with Guns N' Roses. He does so many things. He's seen so many bands. He's been a part of so many historic moments. This guy knows wrestling and UFC like no one else's business. He can talk. Look, we call this Midnight Metal. We're posers compared to this person.
Completely. I'd say you're right.
Yeah, totally. 100%. 101%.
But
this guy has a history and a story that puts us to shame as far as in the music scene, in the world scene. He's traveled around the world. He's seen things that we could only dream.
He also had a book published as part of Dell's Abyss horror line in the 90s that we'll talk about.
One of the great horror lines.
One of the great horror lines. And I don't think...
with Tor Horror, which is that tattoo right there.
Yeah, but you know what? The Abyss was a special line. It was special,
I know,
man.
but this was a cooler logo.
Well, it was. I didn't know you had
Which is
the
why
Tor
I got
books.
it tattooed on my body.
I didn't know you had that. I didn't know you had
love
that.
pulp. This is becoming my horror fiction arm. This is the logo for Tor Horror, and that is the paperback cover of The Shining.
I'm just happy you read books. Do you know you're the second person? Gary Enton has the cover of Stephen King's The Stand, the original hardcover with the battling, like crow. He's got that.
I love that. Where's that?
It's on his body. Yeah, but you're the second person with a Stephen King book cover tattoo. That's very cool. I didn't know. Are those new, Dave?
This one is not. This one I got in Malta when I was there. I had what I found out.
Wait,
and I don't
are
know
we
if
bring in our guest? Because
Well, yeah, and I don't know if Dell will maybe confirm this. Dell will confirm this. I think tattoos in Europe the tattoo artists in Europe might be better. I mean, this is a simple one, so who knows?
the tattoo artists in Europe have been human beings longer.
So, let's bring our guest on.
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all of you fucking metalheads, please welcome. By the way, put your fucking hands together and clap.
Neil!
Before Del James. Ladies and gentlemen, Del James, welcome. Del, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in ages.
Midnight fucking metal.
That's fucking right.
Holds barred. It's game fucking on.
If he's not loud enough, you're not listening close enough. Though you could probably bring up your volume on your mic even more.
You can't be too loud on this show.
How about that?
Even more, you're gonna have to talk louder.
It's all right.
Did that help?
Yeah. Just enunciate. How you doing, man? I haven't seen you in forever.
It's been a long fucking time, hasn't it?
It hasn't. I mean, it has. It totally has. So I gotta ask you. So first of all, I was talking to a friend of mine who's an esteemed critic and author. I told him you were going to be on the show, and I said that you'd publish this book, and he looked it up, and he said, because we had been talking about the Abyss horror line randomly, like tonight. He looks up and he goes, "Tell James, his anthology was published by Abyss," and he sent me a different title than what Dave sent me. This is the title. Well,
that's the original book cover.
Yeah, that's the first cover, and then I've got the new cover. Which is right here, The Language of Fear. But I have to say, dude, having a book published as part of the Abyss line back in the 90s, that was a dope-ass line of books.
Dude, it was such an honor to be a part of that. And Abyss lived and died with a lady named Jean Cavellos. Jean was the editor. She was the mother to all the authors. She ran the show, and then she went on to become a school teacher, which is also equally noble. And then Abyss was dead.
And then it died. It died a terrible death. Unfortunately,
They had a whole roster of amazing authors on there.
Titles.
Kathy Kojo was an Abyss girl.
Just really cool stuff.
Yeah. It was pretty great. So how did you? Let me ask you this: How did the book come about? Obviously, there's your story that is the basis for one of the great music videos of all time, Guns N' Roses' "November Rain," which is basically the Stairway to Heaven of the '90s. Let's face it, it's just as sad, or maybe not, but it's a great video. And it cost what, $10 million to make?
It cost $1 million to make back in an era when nobody was spending $1 million on music videos.
At that time, it was the most expensive one, right?
My friends, Guns N' Roses, had access to my writings before the rest of the world did. So by giving me props, by giving me that thank you credit at the end based on the short story Without You by Del James, there was suddenly interest in things that were in my dresser drawer, typed sheets of paper with short stories on it. And Jean Cavellos read it, edited it, and that's how I wound up on the Abyss line.
That's amazing. It's so cool.
Wow.
And I'm sure after Grady Hendrix' Paperbacks from Hell book came out that the cost of buying an original copy went up to $125. There
was a time when The Language of Fear first pressing was on like the top 10 most hard to find books, and it was going for ridiculous money on eBay. It was going for such stupid money, in fact, that when Dell Publishing came to me and offered me a second pressing, but no advance or anything, no financial reward for me, I said, yeah, fuck it. Put the book out so people can at least read it and not pay an arm and a leg for it.
That was very nice of you. That's very cool.
Yeah, it was the right thing to do.
Well, Dell, you've been into all kinds of
like worth whatever it says on the cover and nothing more.
That is not true.
That's humble. Fuck, man. You've been into all kinds of things. So when you started writing stuff,
so fierce.
When you started writing stuff, talk a little bit about your.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
He can't hear you, but can we hear you? Talk, Dave.
Okay. Hello.
You should be able. Yeah, we should be able to. We can hear you. You're going out over the airwaves.
All right, but can Dell hear me? If not, I'm going to ask you the question, Robin. You can ask Dell.
No, he should be able to hear you.
I can't hear him.
Oh no.
Okay.
Try again.
Well,
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, great.
Can you hear Dave now?
Dell, give us a little history. What got you into writing, and specifically, what was your seed to get into horror stuff?
I am a child of the late 60s and 70s. I was born in 1964, and I would spend my allowance on magazines and comic books and things of that nature. And I've always loved to read. And the more tawdry, the more taboo, the more decadent, the more interesting. So I wasn't a good student, but I was an avid reader. And I was an avid reader of things that interest me. And being a lover of the written word, I tried to write words and have always been a bit of a writer, whether it's in the privacy of my bedroom or sharing it with my friends. And that's kind of the beginning. And you know, just through repetition and learning the craft and reading more, hopefully I've gotten better as time's progressed.
Now, was there a particular story or something that got you hooked, or a movie that gave you the horror bug?
My parents and I went to Cancun sometime in the late 70s or early 80s. And the hotel that we were staying at did not have television, but they had a paperback rack with books you could borrow and read while you were staying there. That's when I read Stephen King's Night Shift, a Ramsey Campbell novel.
Ooh.
And maybe something else that I don't remember, but I remember those two had a profound impact on me. And that's the day where it shifted from reading being a chore in school to reading something I enjoyed being an ultimate pleasure.
I hear that. That happened to me too. They would at school, they would give me oh, you need to read Tess of the Duberville. And I'm sure there's value to that, though at the time I think the thing is, I think they chose a book that was way above our heads, especially in grade school or middle school.
But then Polanski made the movie, dude.
But I was reading other things, contemporary fiction at that level. So yeah, but I want to shift over. So you got the bug in reading and that type of thing. So that started, those two, Night Shift and Ramsey Campbell, started the horror thing. But were you always into the genre type movies, or what got you into that? I would sort of tell us the sort of progression that
they all go hand in hand. Creature Feature on Channel 5, Chiller Theater on Channel 11 in New York, weekend horror movies, the comic books, Sergeant Rock, Hawkman, Plop, Mad Magazine.
Plop. Oh.
Cracked,
yes. a whole host of goodness. And they all are, they're all kind of related. The horror movies, the comic books, the novels, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I've always been a horror kid. I've always been a hard rock, heavy metal kid. I'm in my 60s and I still am.
I was going to say,
Rob.
what were some of those early records? What were some of the first records that you were buying?
The first record that I bought with my own money was Kiss Alive. And that would have been 1975, 5th grade. Before that, the first single, the first 45 I bought was Rockin' Robin, the Jackson 5.
When we were in the 4th grade, everybody gifted everybody else Kiss Alive. We were 10, 1977. Kiss was the band in the 4th grade, and everybody got Kiss Alive for their birthday. And the next year, it was the Scorpions' Love Drive.
Oh, very nice. There's a moment when, Kiss are the zeitgeist, and Evil Knievel's part of it, and the
Yep.
$6 million is part of it. And then there's a shift. There's a shift when you discover Led Zeppelin. There's a shift when you discover Judas Priest and Black Sabbath and marijuana and R-rated movies. And Kiss did nothing to stay in your vision, because they were putting out Dynasty and Unmasked, and there was the Scorpions and UFO and Thin Lizzy and shit that was just far more intense and happening.
Yeah, I mean, Kiss got safe, and you had to look for other fixes that were the initial dark thing that attracted you to all this stuff in a way.
I do want to say that Dynasty was the first rock concert I ever went to.
A lot of people have. It was supposed to be mine, but I got sick. My first show was circa 77, 78, Kansas at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
Yeah,
you carried on that wayward son.
I fucking did. I think they may have played that song twice.
Well, that's No Dust in the Wind. I'm sorry.
Jeez, Rob.
Now, I want to ask you, you were also there at the dawn of home video. And I think the dawn of home video, there was a confluence in 81, MTV went on the air. Home video was breaking. And if you were a horror metalhead, suddenly MTV was showing the kinds of videos that were new, and they were putting on anything that was available, because there weren't that many music videos back when MTV went live. And then you could also start getting horror movies whenever you wanted. You didn't have to wait till they were on the late show or on the 4:30 movie or anything like that. You could go get them. Did the advent of the home video era affect your fandom?
Dude, you couldn't be more on point if you tried any harder. We got our first VCR. My mom bought me a VCR in 1978.
Wow.
We went to Sears and had to make a choice between Betamax and VHS. And the salesperson said VHS is going to have more selections. Beta is better quality. We went with more selections. She probably paid somewhere around $700 for that top loader. And it was where everybody in the neighborhood came over to watch horror movies or whatever I happened to take.
That was my house too.
And so you'd go to the mom and pop video store, and they'd have 2-for-1 Wednesdays and shit like that. So you'd get 4 horror movies based solely upon the cover art. Whatever looked gruesome and challenging and faces of death we watched Snuff. All right.
I remember that. That had the great ending, the great disemboweling ending.
Yes. We'd heard the urban legend of somebody dies at the end of this, right? So we suffer through this unwatchable 90 minutes, and then it shifts to the hotel room where the guy with the mask, you want to see something sick? You want to see something really violent? And then he does terrible special effects, dismemberment, and then the film rolls out, and the last thing you hear is, "Did you get it all?" And me and my buddies were just like, we just witnessed a crime. We are horrible human fucking beings, man.
Those are the days, man. That was the good stuff. Now, how did you, you had a long and winding road. Sorry, with the music references. You ended up getting into wrestling. You ended up getting into the rock and roll business. How did you go from a young whippersnapper did you go to college? Were you studying anything academically that would take you into the career you got into?
I do have some college. I have a little bit of community college at 2 different schools, Westchester Community College in Valhalla, New York, and Broome County Community College, which is in Binghamton, New York. And the plan was to go from community college to the SUNY, the State University of New York in Binghamton. And it's there that I was on the school newspaper. I can't remember the fucking name of that newspaper. The Fulcrum. I was on the newspaper, and I started reviewing records and reviewing concerts. So when I moved out to California in 1985, I have a small background in journalism, but I can say that I do have a bit of a background when interviewing for jobs. And a publicist named Arlette Varecki, who was working with Guns N' Roses and David Lee Roth, recommended me to Lon Friend over at Rip Magazine, and they took a chance on me. And much like anything else, you know, your first assignment is a record review or something small, and if you don't fuck that up, then they give you more opportunity. And slowly, surely enough, I became a senior editor over at Rip.
Wow. So you were like the Cameron Crowe. When he was writing for Rolling Stone, you're the Cameron Crowe of Rip.
Yeah, but nobody knew that until after the fact. You know, it's kind of happening. You know, I was a very passionate music fan, and if the way to get my foot in the door to the music business was beginning with journalism, then by all means sign me up.
Wow. Now, at the time, you were in LA, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
What was the scene? What was the LA scene like? You said 85. We're talking circa 85.
Yeah. So I start going to shows in 77, 78. By 1979, I'm seeing Judas Priest at the Palladium. I'm seeing Bad Company at Madison Square Garden. I'm seeing AC/DC on Highway to Hell open for Ted Nugent at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
In 1985, when I'm going to school in Binghamton, we drove 4 hours to go to Studio 54 because Venom, Slayer, and Exodus were playing.
Wow.
Always loved the live experience, but also going to clubs, because you got to remember the drinking age at a certain point was 18, then it was 19, then it was 21 years of age. So if you were like, I was fortunate to be born in 1964. So when the drinking age was 18, I was 18, which means when I was 16, I looked pretty much like I was old enough to get into these places. And if I had a fake ID, which I did, I was able to go see the bands in the nightclubs. And there was this thing that was going on the East Coast that Twisted Sister, Zebra, Swift Kick, Steeplechase, the Rat Race Choir, all these really professional club bands were doing a circuit of the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. And there was live music at these, 500, 1,000 seat rock clubs every night or every other night. And you could find something super fucking cool. I used to go see Twisted Sister on the regular, and the Twisted Sister that most of the world, came to know, We're Not Going to Take It and I Want to Rock and all that kind of stuff, is not the same Twisted Sister that was playing in the nightclubs. The Twisted Sister, they had a card that would get you into their shows for $5, and you were a sick motherfucking friend of Twisted Sister, and that was like their fan club. And Twisted were these larger than life transvestites playing half originals and half covers. The covers were songs like Hell Bent for Leather or Long Live Rock and Roll by Rainbow. And Shoot 'Em Down was part of the set. And there was this scene that was happening. There was this unifying voice of the rock and roll underground, so to speak, that was Twisted Sister. And the same thing happens later in 1985 with Guns N' Roses on the Sunset Strip.
Right.
Yeah.
Guns.
So was the
Guns and
the Twisted Sister era, was this around? Did you go to, like, there's fabled clubs like Coventry and Max's Kansas City? Were you hitting all those places too at that time?
I was going to see them at L'Amour's. There was
Okay.
a club in Portchester, New York called Detroit's that was it was short-lived, but it was really fucking happening for a moment. Aerosmith played there under a pseudonym. The Blue Oyster Cult played there as the Soft White Underbelly. Rick Derringer, Johnny Winter, Zebra regularly. So there were clubs. There was the Left Bank in Mount Vernon. There were places happening all over the place. And depending on who had a car that night meant whether or not you could get there or not.
Wow.
Now, what were the girls like? What were the metal chicks like back in the day?
There were some, but there's this growth that occurs. Like, you definitely saw more girls in 1985 than you did in 1980, and you saw more girls in 1990 than you did in 85.
Mm-hmm.
And now you go to a Slayer show and it's half girls, which, I'm all for. But I was out with Slayer when it was Slayer, Testament, Suicidal Tendencies, and Megadeth on the first Clash of the Titans tour in Europe.
Wow.
And there was 5 girls every night.
Right.
5,000 dudes, 5 girls.
That's depressing.
So what brought you out to LA?
I hitched a ride with a guy who I was in a garage band with, a fella named Randy Piawar, and I was going to be the next David Lee Roth, even though I can't sing.
Of course you were.
I had the right attitude, and I had hair back then, so that was two positives. But it was just so enticing, and we were seeing what was happening on the West Coast from a distance. Okay, so there's Wasp, there's Van Halen, there's Quiet Riot, there's Rat, there's all these bands that are popping off on the West Coast, while on the East Coast, Twisted Sister can't get a record deal, even though they're selling out the Palladium.
Right.
Why was that?
I don't know. I mean, I can tell you that when a band gets popular enough, when a band gets big enough, then the record companies comes sniffing around to see what's everybody curious about, what's everybody checking out. And that's ultimately how Twisted Sister get their record deal. They sell out the Palladium, which is the same venue that UFO are doing, that Alice Cooper, I saw 1981 there, Robin Trower, et cetera, and they're selling out the same venue. So there must be something going on. There must be an audience for this. Guns N' Roses, same case, same situation. It wasn't that the industry fell in love with Guns N' Roses. The industry took notice that on a Friday night, there's 1,000 kids outside the Whiskey. And on Saturday night, there's another 1,000 kids outside the Roxy, and they're all coming to see a band called Guns N' Roses. There might be something to this thing.
Yeah. Well, when these bands, especially in LA, when they're playing the Sunset Strip, and of course, for those of you who don't know, the Sunset Strip in the late 60s was sort of the epicenter of all American rock and roll, where you had people like the Doors playing, and it was still going strong. And in the 80s, you had like it was Gazzarri's, right? Was it Ben? I keep saying Ben.
Gazzarri's.
Yeah,
Yep.
Gazzarri's, the Whiskey, and the Roxy, and all those clubs that
And
were
the
up there.
yeah.
So when you got to LA, and this like pre Guns N' Roses breaking, because when Appetite for Destruction came out, I mean, it kind of changed the United States. I mean, that was a tsunami of a record. But before they got that, and, I didn't live in LA until 88, but and Appetite for Destruction was 87.
Yeah.
87.
So 87. So before that, before Guns N' Roses had the deal and they were playing these clubs and all these bands were playing these clubs, what were the band members, what were they like? I mean, were they really, you hear about how they were sleeping on whatever girl's couch they could find or floor. What was the whole, I mean, there's all these hopes and dreams and all this aspiration stuff going on and people were flocking to the Sunset Strip and it was a huge scene. What was it like for you? Were you at Rip Magazine now covering all this yet?
No. That happens later. That happens 87, 88. So 1985, I move out and I go to an apartment building that had a for lease, for rent sign on it. And I wind up making friends with one of the tenants there, a fellow named West Arkeen. And living next door to West Arkeen was a fellow named Duff McKagan. And crashing on Wesley's floor was a fellow named Axl Rose, who really didn't have residence anywhere at that point. And we make friends. We start hanging out. I don't get an apartment there, but I start hanging out there a lot. And that's day one. That's the first page on the chapter of my relationship with Guns N' Roses. We spoke the same language. We had similar interests. We weren't afraid to be excessive all the time. And
can you define that for us? What does that mean?
No, you can't. No.
I never met a drink I didn't like, no matter how long it tasted. So I start meeting these guys the same way you make friends with anyone else. You have similar interests, you speak a similar language, blah, 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 blah. And I had never met people so focused and dedicated and driven as these guys were. They lived, eat, breathed, shitted Guns N' Roses 24/7. So I move out at the beginning of August of 85, and they have a show scheduled for a Thursday night at the Troubadour in September. So for that month of bonding, I'm hearing them and I'm hearing their demo tape. And to me, I'm just like, if you're half as cool as your name, you're pretty fucking cool. And I went to the Troubadour on a Thursday night, and there was probably 30 or 40 other people there. And it was a moment. It was a moment that I will never forget. And the only thing I can compare it to is when people say they saw Aerosmith at Max's Kansas City, or they saw The Clash, or they saw the Ramones at CBGB's, or something like that, where you know you're in the presence of something that's got the potential to be really big. And so the first night I saw them was the first night that they ever played Rocket Queen live. And I'm just blown the fuck away. I'm like, my friends, my drinking partners, my new homeboys, they're the shit. They're the legit shit. And so the 40 people that were there that night, the next time they played, there's 200 people, and so on and so forth. So this wave just continued until it was undeniable, and there's 1,000 kids waiting outside of the
That's amazing.
And at this point, sorry, Rob.
Go ahead.
At this point, this was the Guns N' Roses that we know. It's not the Tracy Guns era of that weird middle section.
No, that's the very beginning, and there's like 3 or 4 Tracy Guns, Axl Rose, Guns N' Roses gigs, if that.
Right.
When you saw that happening and you're watching a band break, you know, as a fan, now you're kind of inside. Did it change your perspective on what it means to be a band?
No, it just felt so natural. Like nobody really noticed what was going on. It wasn't like you were out of yourself. You were living in your boots, and shit was just happening, and it was supposed to happen. But it's not like I sat there and took a step back and said, if I place my bet on these guys, 40 years later, I'll still be working for them. It was like, it's getting bigger because it's supposed to get bigger because they're better than everyone else.
Right. Yeah. And that apparently, I mean, I didn't see it myself, but that was apparently very apparent to anybody watching them play live.
Guns N' Roses have always been a force, but there was this raw primal energy in the nightclubs because they were fighting and scratching and clawing for everything they could get, including your attention.
And also their music was so different from all the other bands that were sort of breaking at the time because it was more raw. It was more rock and roll. It wasn't what they call glam metal now or hair metal or any of this stuff. And that's the thing. What people don't realize, and Del, you can talk about this way more than me because I got here. Rob, you got here in 88. I got here in 80. I got here in 89. And at that time, still, the Sunset Strip was like you go Friday, Saturday night. The sidewalks were filled with people
packed
all the way from Tower Records to the Rainbow to Gazzari's.
Yeah, no,
it was like you could barely walk the sidewalk. It was that kind of.
And hanging out at the Rainbow was incredible. One of my first girlfriends was a lead singer of an all-girl heavy metal band.
Well, I mean, the Rainbow is still the Rainbow. That's the wonderful thing about the Rainbow is if anyone out there wants to experience a little bit of what it was like then, just go to the Rainbow because it's stuck in 1987.
But it was
beautifully stuck in 1987.
Del, Axl Rose as a vocalist he was unique. I mean, he had a power, and the way he moved on stage and the way he sang and the high notes he could hit, no one really had ever seen anything like that. And of course, I was living in Seattle and there was no grunge rock yet. But I remember, I mean, MTV was a big force in breaking Guns N' Roses because I remember I think the first time I ever saw them, I think I might have heard them on the radio first, but I was listening to more of I was more of a Euro techno guy. But when I saw Guns N' Roses, I think I saw them first on MTV and I was fucking blown away.
I'll tell you where I saw them, where I mean, I think I was already a little bit aware of them. And Del, you can remind me of this. The first exposure I think that the mass populace ever got of Guns N' Roses was the Clint Eastwood film, The Deadpool, where Jim Carrey does Welcome to the Jungle. And then the rest of Guns N' Roses is in the movie.
But didn't that come later though?
Did it?
Yes.
It did?
Yes,
Was that? I thought that was 87.
The record gets released. The music video gets released. Welcome to the Jungle was kind of like a 3 a.m. staple. If you wanted to see it, it would play at 3 o'clock in the morning. The album was out for about a year, and it was doing what it was going to sell, being the opening act for Alice Cooper, The Cult, et cetera, grassroots, but not a whole lot of radio airplay or anything like that. Then Geffen Records is essentially ready to call it a day and have them go do their next record because they had sold over 100,000 records, but I don't know exactly how many they had sold.
Do you know when? Do you remember when the record came out? When the Appetite for Destruction came out?
It's
87.
like June or July of 87.
Okay, and I was going to ask you, when did they get? So Geffen Records signs Guns N' Roses.
In 86.
In 86. So when did you guys start recording? When did they start recording the album?
In 86. Late 86, 87 is when Appetite is being recorded.
Were was Geffen Records happy with the record?
That's where I was going. They were satisfied with what it had sold and were ready to pull the plug and, okay, guys, go make your next record. But people within the camp believed that Appetite for Destruction had more legs. So Tom Zutaut, their A&R guy at the time, went in and basically begged David Geffen to give him money to make one more music video. And if that didn't work, then it was over. And he left that meeting with $25,000 to go film a video. The video, Sweet Child of Mine, and the rest is history.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I remember I had, and I'm so sad that I don't have it now, I had the like bus stop size poster of the Robert Williams cover for so long.
I mean, what's interesting about that is that compared to something like Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine was almost, it was a ballad in a way. It
wasn't a ballad. It was a love song. And it's a great song. Again, a song that no one had, nothing sounded like that song. It took a lot of balls for Axl to write a song like that, and to have the conviction to go through with it, because it's not your typical power ballad. It's far emotional. It's far more from the heart, and that's why I think it connected so much with people. It's like.
Well, it also it felt more elevated in some way than the rock ballads of.
Well, their writing was way more sophisticated in their songwriting than anything anyone else was doing at the time, which is what made them stand out.
Yeah,
Guns N' Roses had a lot more in common with the Stones, Led Zeppelin, the Sex Pistols than your run-of-the-mill heavy metal band.
Yeah, they did. Now,
I wanted to ask you, sorry, Rob. So, in your opinion, you've obviously been with these guys for decades now. You've known them for decades. Is it just one of those cases where just the combination of these individuals together is what makes it work? Or, in a very special way, they're all, of course, multi-talented, and many of them have gone on and done solo projects, multiple. Slash has done multiple, Duff has done multiple solo projects. But do you think that really the lightning in the bottle is them together as a unit?
The lightning in the bottle was them together as a unit in 1985-86, because that combination is what it was explosive. And when they play together now, that I'm fortunate to be a part of, the magic is still there. And you can substitute certain people and get away with it, but there's a certain chemistry that occurs that is uniquely and distinctly Axl / Duff.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I mean, there's what was also interesting at the time. I mean, with MTV, what it was, and you got to see more and more of those things, and then Guns N' Roses became like, they weren't just big; they were a supernova, weren't they? I mean, suddenly they were a worldwide smash success, and you read about them and you heard about them, and I don't think you could open the pages of Rolling Stone without somebody writing an op-ed piece about them. Spin magazine, at the time. How did that affect the band?
Imagine you're a 20-something and you've gone from nightclubs to stadiums. It's going to fuck with your head. It's going to be a lot to deal with. It's going to be something that's overwhelming. And
but I mean more. I mean, you hear about those, but I'm thinking more from a musical perspective. Like, I'm sure there was a lot of pressure on them to record, and then they had Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2, and there was so much. I mean, they became a. It's hard to explain to people that weren't there, but they became like a force beyond just rock and roll. I mean, it was almost like they were speaking for all of America at the time, in a way.
They were a juggernaut.
That's Paradise City lyrics. That's Captain America's been blown apart and stuff like that. That is where America was at that particular moment in time.
Absolutely.
I want to pivot too, because
Give it away.
We could talk about Guns N' Roses the entire night, but I want to talk about when did the wrestling bug hit you, and I want to know when that hit, and then how that leads to the graphic novel Consensual Violence and all of that, because the wrestling world and all that is so much a part of your story too, in a way.
When you guys were asking me earlier about, my influences and what helped shape me, comic books, horror movies, heavy metal records, et cetera, and pro wrestling is also part of that equation. When I was a little kid, we would go to the Five and Dime or the corner store, get our comic books, get True Detective magazines, get Heavy Metal magazine, and also buy pro wrestling magazines. And part of the way I would choose which wrestling magazine I wanted to read was the cover. And they would have these incredibly gory, bloody front covers. And the one that was the most tawdry, the one that was the most salacious, that was the one that always drew me in. And there was something, wrestling magazines were like exploitation movies. They would tell you these tall tales about the night Assassin 1 and Assassin 2 tried to kill Dusty in the ring.
I was going to say, the Dusty Road covers were always him covered in blood.
Of course I want to read this, Superstar Billy Graham, this jacked up giant with a bleeding face. Yeah, sign me up. So on the East Coast, we had the WWF, which is now the WWE. And you had to wait till midnight for it to come on. And from, I guess, around third or fourth grade, I was watching and I was hooked. It's my white trash soap opera. It's the villain done something rotten to the good guy. Now the good guy's got to get revenge. It's good versus evil. And I love evil. I love the bad guys. Anybody who can talk shit and back it up is cool by me.
Were you reading Fangoria when they were covering wrestling and John Carpenter came out as a big wrestling fan in like the mid 80s?
No, this is all brand new to me. I think my first Fangoria was Videodrome cover.
Okay, so that was early. So you were looking at Fangoria before that all happened. He's talking about when Carpenter really came out as a wrestling fan was around WrestleMania 3.
Yeah,
He came out with Alice Cooper, and that's where he met Roddy Piper to be in They Live.
Yeah.
So that was that
was a big deal.
87 era and stuff like that. But I love that Fangoria did do stories on wrestling every now and then.
Yeah, they really got into it.
That's really cool. I will read some.
But again, so you're this fan. So then that goes into when did you get into Lucha Libre and everything else that sort of then
they all
inspires this graphic novel.
They all have tentacles. And I went to WrestleMania 7 here in Los Angeles, which was Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter, when Sergeant Slaughter was doing like the Ayatollah Slaughter gimmick. Randy Savage versus the Ultimate Warrior was also on that card.
Wow.
That's amazing. So how did your wrestling interests dovetail with rock and roll?
Because there are some of us who appreciate both, and you find those guys. Rick Rubin was a big wrestling head. He used to finance a small wrestling federation called Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Glenn Danzig's a big wrestling fan. Kerry King is a wrestling fan. Zach Wilde is a wrestling fan.
Jesus, they could all be wrestlers, for Christ's sake, if they weren't metal musicians.
I think Zach did a few skits in WWF, like he was in the bar when the fight breaks out.
Oh my God. So
Wow.
talk about so all this, the horror, the rock and roll, the wrestling, everything, it's all led to consensual violence. It's all led to this, along with other things. Talk about this graphic novel, where it came from, and let people know, because it comes out Tuesday. Everyone can get it Tuesday.
Okay, so Consensual Violence started as a movie script. I wrote it as a film script, and it sat on my desk. It was, one of many scripts I've written that nobody's ever seen. So I'm fortunate that my friend Jeremy Wagner, who's the CEO of Dead Sky Publishing, we speak the same language, both heavy metal and horror films and things like that. He's the CEO, the owner of Dead Sky Publishing. We were discussing me possibly doing some stuff with them, and I was like, I have this thing I have to get out of my system. It's a rape revenge script story set in the world of Mexican lucha libre. So I sent him and Steve Wands, the chief creative officer at Dead Sky, the script. They dug it. So we're going to work together. Now I have to learn the language of comic book storytelling, of comic book format. And they helped guide me through it. So essentially, Consensual Violence is storyboards of an imaginary movie. And it starts off with an aspiring wrestler named Kristen Moore, who gets violated and disfigured by her trainer, Zach Perfect. She's disfigured. She's shit out of luck. So she has to don a mask and hide her disfigurement while still chasing her dream, her life goal. And then it gets really complicated.
How many issues is it?
It's one graphic novel. The whole story is in Consensual Violence.
Nice. Now, what was it like for you? Tell us about what was it like to work with an artist?
It was a pleasure to work with Arjuna Susini, who's an Italian artist. So just like anything, you have to learn how to speak with the people who are helping you. And so my nerdy eye for detail when it comes to wrestling or certain things, I had to get it across to him how to put it on the page, and he was receptive to everything. He went above and beyond the call of duty. That there's a few pages where the lady luchadoras are at a wrestling kiosk. Well, every mask that is on the kiosk, like for sale, are real wrestlers, and they had to be colored in a certain manner, and it got done. And I'm very proud of the way every page looks.
How long did it take you to, from the time, so you already had the script, from the time you were converting it into a comic script, how long did the process of making the book take?
That will differ with every artist. Some are faster than others, and Arjuna is quite quick. So the whole, from page 1 to page 132 was probably just shy of a year.
Wow, okay. 132 pages, that's impressive. What was it like when you got the first page of art back? Was that like a total great moment?
It still is a great moment. It still is like I'm not worthy of this, because everyone on the team did such a kick-ass job. Julia Brusco is the colorist, and she captured the tones. She captured.
Oh wow, I love the art.
It's really a beautiful book, and that it's my story is just. I'm kind of speechless. It's fucking awesome.
and it goes. How much is it? How much is the graphic novel?
$17.99, available
Cheap.
at Amazon.com.
Nice. So, are you going to follow it up? You're going to do? Do you have the graphic novel bug?
Yeah, no. I am I'm a comic book buyer. I'm a fan. I go on Wednesdays to see the new releases and all that kind of stuff. And we are very much going to do several books together, myself and Dead Sky Publishing. The next graphic novel of mine is called No Saints in Myanmar. And if this book was influenced by Ms. 45 or Thriller, A Cruel Picture, as well as like El Santo and Blue Demon movies, No Saints in Myanmar.
Boy, that's a mashup. Thriller and Miss 45 and Santo movies? Wow. Sold.
No Saints in Myanmar is like influenced by Sam Peckinpah's story. An escort, a call girl, is turning a trick with a mafioso, and he takes too much Viagra and too much cocaine, and it doesn't end well for him. So now he's in a bind and basically has to get away from the Asian triad. And, there's all kinds of treachery and action adventure and big ass shotgun blasts.
Too much cocaine and too much Viagra. You sold me there too. I'm in. Where's the pre-order form? I'm in. So like
you usually just drive to a neighborhood and roll down your window for that one.
Shh. Don't.
No, Rob lives in a respectable neighborhood.
There's always
he gets it delivered.
There's a lot of places close by. Come on. When you I'm curious now. I mean, you work with the band. You're working with Guns N' Roses as well. You go out on the road with them. You've traveled all over the world. I followed you from afar. You and Shayla, seeing your social media posts. What's it been like? I mean, watching this kind of.
We're getting a cameo.
I know.
I haven't
Hey!
seen. Well, actually, that's not true. I saw you at Scow's birthday. It's good to see you again. By the way, you don't age. You look the same for 25 years.
Trying to preserve it.
It's okay. Rob ages.
Yeah.
Hey, Chayla, tell us about the legendary parties at Rob's old apartment.
When you brought it up earlier, I'm like, I can't throw stones, man. I feel like I was like so much a
part of that.
You can. It's okay. You can say it. It's hard to explain. It would be difficult for people to understand those days.
Let me tell you, that Dance Revolution that we had going on, though, I stayed fit.
Well, there you go. It
Rob
was all about dance.
Rob was a beast on Dance Revolution. He really was.
Especially on Viagra and cocaine. No, I've never taken Viagra.
No.
I really never have.
Or cocaine.
Yeah, let's just say our parties went from Friday night to Sunday night.
It's Sunday afternoon.
But on Monday we got up for work.
When there was work.
That's all that mattered. That's all that mattered. Those are the days. Those are the early 2000s.
Oh,
this
God.
is before we got tired at 8:00 at night.
Right.
I know. We're all.
Yeah, but that was after we'd been up for 3 days.
Now we take naps so we can do the show.
Dude, you have no idea how hard it is at 10 p.m. to still be awake.
Chayla, let me ask you something since you're here. I mean, at the time, you also worked, since we've got you were at Lionsgate, and you were, in the 2000s, Lionsgate was killing it with horror, and you were basically in charge of doing publicity, shepherding all these...
Magical time. It was such a magical time for horror. Like, it was like the dawning of J-horror back in the early 2000s. It was
Saw.
It was Saw, and I was just talking with Bill Moseley at the Hyena Horror Gallery swap meet market, weirdo rummage sale that we do. And it's like, I was saying to him, I'm like, I miss that time. It was such a special time that I feel like I grew up with. Like, we in House of Thousand Corpses, and then Devil's Rejects came out. Like, that was a time that you just can't get back. I mean, that was a time in horror that was like real. It was grounded, and it had such a cool, like, grassroots kind of word of mouth. It was like the real fans for the real films. And I don't know if I'm just like old and just don't believe people anymore, but like, it was so real then.
I remember real. You sent me, you said you have your camera equipment stuff. You sent me to Lacey Street Studios. You sent me to the set of a movie called Saw. And I filmed interviews with people, and I was in the room when Carrie Elways was like chained up or whatever, and and that was wild.
They didn't know it was going to be this thing, and now there's like fucking.
They had nobody had. It was an 18-day shoot. Nobody had any idea about Saw at all.
And James Wan just always was like 18 days. I had 18 days, and with his accent, I'm like. Yeah, okay, you had 18 days. A lot of people had like 18 days. But anyway, nobody knew it was going to be that. And it was such a special time in horror. I feel like the early 2000s, I mean, granted, like the 80s were great for horror because there's so many like cool films that you could never do now. Couldn't even do then. But like that time, I feel like I grew up with it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you had like, was The Descent during your era?
Yeah, one of the best.
Cabin Fever.
Lionsgate just put out a 4K of that.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, she's talking.
Corpses. Yeah, right. High Tension. Exactly. Cabin Fever. Like, those are like, I feel like I like grew up with those filmmakers too,
And I thank you again because you gave my ex-wife a lot of work designing covers for Lionsgate Horror. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you again. Paid for all that cocaine. Oh, kidding. I had to pay for that. She never did. She put her money away in the bank. I never saw any of it.
Now that is the greatest mask of all time. The greatest metal mask of all time. Is that new? When did you get that?
I got this, I want to say at a Monsterpalooza years ago.
I have one too. Probably not the same person, but
Matt, that was lovely to see your lovely wife, and I adore you both. But I wanted to ask, now that when you were there at the beginning of Guns N' Roses, and now Guns N' Roses came back, had a resurgence, got the band back together, what's it been like for you over these 40 years? You've seen so much, and yet, you say that nowadays when the band is playing, they have that special something. What's it like to be a part of that legacy? I mean, I'm sure at the time you had no idea, like you earlier just said, I've been 40 years later, here I am. Now, how would you look back on a life on the road with Guns N' Roses?
It's been a blessing. It's been an honor and a privilege to work for something that if I wasn't associated with, I would be a huge fan of. The music is undeniable. The energy is undeniable. And when I saw them that first night in 1985, it wasn't like everybody had the same notion of this is going to be the biggest. This is going to be Led Zeppelin-ish, but it's going to be something, and it's exciting to be a part of something. And it still is exciting to be a part of something. Whatever small of a role that I play, I am grateful for the opportunity, all the perks that come with it. There's something to be said for staying in the nicest hotels and getting paid very well to do a job very well. And as we've gotten older, and I speak for myself, I've become more responsible. I've become more considerate, hopefully more considerate, a better listener, all those things that come with age that, we call wisdom. Hopefully some of that has taken to me and stuck to me so that I can do whatever is necessary to keep the machine moving.
Now I'm curious. So how did the gig to become, is it technically the road manager?
Yeah.
And what does that entail for you?
Yeah. What is that job like? Tell us about that. What do you do?
So in 1992, May 13th, 1992 is the last time I partied. I wound up in the hospital and I fucked up, and that's my sobriety date. Shortly thereafter, I'm going out to the Guns N' Roses Metallica stadium tour for whatever reason, as a documentarian, as a biographer, as a note taker, as a fly on the wall. And while I was there and sober, the then managers were like, as long as you stay clean, you will have a job here. So I started at the bottom bottom rung of the ladder. I was part of the documentary crew, and then I became interviewer on the documentary crew. Then Use Your Illusions ends, and we're home, and I'm given projects like the Live Era live record. I'm in charge of organizing all kinds of things. Then by 2000, when it's Chinese Democracy first shows, I was the assistant to the tour manager. And then as tour managers come and go, and I learned more, I was then the tour manager or the road manager. And there's been times where there's two of us, there's three of us, et cetera, et cetera. My job now essentially is doing whatever it takes to make sure that the shows get done and that everybody's taken care of. If that means making sure that the luggage is delivered safely from the plane to the hotel rooms, no problem doing it. Making sure everybody is informed what they need to know, scheduling, yada, yada, yada. If something is broken, I'm one of the many parts that fix it. Somebody's sick in the middle of the night. We need to find them a doctor. It doesn't matter how much it costs. They're going to get that doctor and be seen. So it's a jack of all trades, but communication and honesty is essential to survival as a road manager or any sort of touring manager.
Yeah. Has it evolved over time? I mean, I'm sure it nowadays
we have a whole different world of technology. On the Use Your Illusions tour, you had the Thomas Guide and maps and phone calls and track machines and shit like that. Now everything is on this thing.
Oh,
you know what? Bring that phone closer to you.
Closer to you, because because we can hear
if
you.
If you bring the phone closer to you, we hear you better.
We hear you better.
Woo! Yeah,
Can you
exactly.
hear me better?
Well, maybe not that close.
No, yeah. Well, no, I was gonna ask you how, in terms of digital technology and using it for promotional purposes and Instagram and TikTok and all that. Have you guys embraced that as a way to promote your gigs and things like that?
Everyone has. There's no one who can deny what the new reality is. We are all social media creatures. If I buy tickets to a concert, I can go on Instagram or Twitter and find out exactly what time the band I want to see is playing, how much parking's going to cost, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you still go to shows other than
all the time?
What are some of the places? What are some of the bands that are impressing you now?
I'm always going to be a geek for Slayer. Watain are one of my favorite bands because they're the most dangerous band in the world. We're going to go see Death Angel in December. Death Angel at the Belasco.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to go see Pentagram at the Whiskey. I've seen Pentagram a few times over the past few years, and
Pentagram is the band that had the meme last year, right?
Yes.
The amazing meme.
You can't get away from fucking Bobby Liebling.
He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. There's a meme got more people into the band.
You're absolutely right. It blew the fuck up. But there's an amazing Pentagram documentary. He might be the biggest fuck up of all time, and somehow he survived.
Where's the documentary at?
Yeah, where can we see that?
Man,
somewhere.
Yeah, keyword,
probably on YouTube.
Keyword Pentagram documentary.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing.
There's one question I also wanted to ask you that I've always been curious about, and I have to ask, coming from Seattle. How did the explosion of grunge rock affect bands like Guns N' Roses and all the hair metal bands and I mean, because essentially it felt like there was a time when it was just over and grunge was everywhere. How did you, as a rock fan, as someone involved with Guns N' Roses, and just as somebody who was a student of the music industry at the time, how did you feel about the influx of grunge and bands like Nirvana and Soundgarden and things like that?
You're mislabeling Guns N' Roses when you call them a hair band.
I was just using them. I didn't call them a hair band. I don't say they are, but other, bands like Quiet Riot and, things like that. I never thought Guns N' Roses was a hair band, let me just be clear.
Grunge killed off the weak. Grunge killed off.
That's the greatest quote ever.
Grunge got rid of a lot of shit that really needed to get rid of. And it was just evolution. It was just a certain moment in time captured. And, Mudhoney and Tad and all these other Seattle bands were fucking crushing what was still left of the Sunset Strip.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I just thought it was an interesting time, but Guns N' Roses endured. I mean, in 1994, there was that great... they were still killing it. I mean, they did the cover of what was it, Live and Let Die? What was?
Yeah, your timeline's a little off. The last show for Guns N' Roses was in the summer of '93 in Argentina at the giant ass stadium, and I was there. And then from '93 until 2000 is the recording of Chinese Democracy and a lot of other shit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I got to get that straight. But yeah, because Live and Let Die is on Use
It's on Use Your Illusion
2 or 1.
One of them.
Yeah.
It's on one of them.
Because that, as a James Bond fan, I fucking love that cover, man.
Dude, what's the name of that big festival, Chayla? The one with it that Paul McCartney was at.
Oh,
Hold on 1 second.
yeah, the one in England that's every year, the Glastonbury.
Glastonbury.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney was there, and Guns N' Roses did Live and Let Die, and it was super cool. Chayla's standing next to him, and he's bopping his head while fucking GNR are doing Live and Let Die.
Wait, Chayla's standing next to Paul McCartney.
In the little VIP wing, yes.
Jeez.
I took a video, a secret.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that song gets the crowd going every night. That song will never get old or tired.
Yeah.
No.
Never.
Incredible.
And also, November Rain is still one of the greatest music videos of all time.
And Axel deserves all the credit. He had a vision that I had a little to help with, but he was really focused and determined to make something that no one else had ever done before.
Who directed that video again? Who was that?
Andy Morahan.
That was Andy Morahan. Okay.
And then I have to ask one last thing, movie related, in '94, because this is where I was going. Sympathy for the Devil at the end of Interview with a Vampire. I mean, that was a banging cover.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't, I just remember when Use Your Illusion was coming out, you get T2, you get,
Yeah.
You Could Be Mine, and they're just like.
But I have to say, first of all, I love that movie. I think it's a great adaptation of the book. But what a perfect way, and that was '94. Neil Jordan, Warner Brothers. That was like an extra added icing on the cake.
It was very cool. And there's also the song "Oh My God" on the End of Days.
End of Days.
Yeah, End of Day. Yeah, the Peter Hunter Schwarzenegger movie,
which is on Amazon Prime right now.
And you can get the Shout Factory 4K.
End of Days. Yeah, because you need the Peter Hyams movie Outland is out in 4K. That's much better to get on.
Yeah,
4K.
I have that. I'm not going to buy End of Days. I know.
Dude, I got Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS
in 4K.
4K, and by the way, that's still the best. But I did get Kino Lorber sent me Harem, the second one, Harem Sheiks in 4. Can you believe we live in a time where we have Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS in 4K?
Dude, so not this year, but last year we were in Germany. And this is when Germany was the only region that had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 4K. And it was coming out like on a Thursday or a Friday on a show day. So I knew it was coming to the video stores and went there the day before. And the guy told me, yeah, we'll have it tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. So I woke up early to go to the store to be like the first one in there in case they only had one. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 4K, then went and did the gig.
Nice. It's funny because that's a movie where, look, the 4K is absolutely gorgeous. I love the movie. I'm really curious. There's that new documentary called Chain Reactions that's coming out.
Yeah.
And the Blu-ray release has the Wizard video version. It has like 8 different like old crappy versions. And I'm so curious if I watch like the old transfer, like I saw it the first time, will it recapture that that dangerous magic that, you know, when the first time I saw it. I think it's cool that they're doing
Chain Reaction is a great documentary. I watched it last night or 2 nights ago. And they purposely use grainy old cuts rather than the pristine new ones because that was part of the experience.
Yeah.
You know? And I've spoken to like some musicians, the dudes in Watain. They have released music videos that are purposely washed out because they remember when they used to trade tapes, getting 6th generation Celtic Frost videos,
right?
And, sort of kind of seeing it, but being able to hear it, it just had this element of danger.
I like that trend because, Bob Murawski, when he put out the Beyond in 4K, gave us the 7 Doors of Death version of it as well, which is just
that's one of the releases of 2025, by the way.
Absolutely.
By the way, Del, there's a couple of questions from viewers who are watching the show right now. This is a pretty good one. Fearless Wolf asks, Del, can you expand on how the band and Rockstar Games came out for GTA San Andreas? And as road manager, did the lads ever get flying knickers on the stage or just hotel keys and absolute carnage?
I wish I could explain. I wish I had an answer to his question. The first part about GTA, I know nothing about any of the legals or anything like that. And brassieres and panties still fly towards the stage.
And what about hotel room keys? No, you don't have to answer that.
With age comes respectability and responsibility. And since most of the fellas are married, nobody fucking cares anymore, where when we were young men, it was all about chasing beautiful women who didn't run very fast.
Let me ask you this, Del. You ever grapple with Duff? I mean, he's like what, black belt or even more? Yeah.
Duff will kill me.
Seattle boy.
Duff is in such good shape. He teaches yoga. He leads classes, and his sobriety is quite an accomplishment, and martial arts was a big part of that.
His autobiography is absolutely fantastic. If you want to read, it's really great.
The Deadman 79 says, "Welcome to the jungle. Happy birthday, Rob." That's a joke that I won't explain it to you, Del, but he goes on to say, with GNR, you just need a little bit more patience, and nothing lasts forever, even the cold November rain.
Wow.
And there you go. And Castle Grace Skull says, Ken Shamrock autographed my abs and bench pressed me. Hi, everyone. Go Ken Shamrock.
And she's got abs, apparently, that we've never seen.
Ken Shamrock a copy of The Language of Fear at UFC 12.
Wow. See? It all comes around full circle. Kelvin Wellborn, who's a viewer of the channel, said he bought me Twins of Evil, the box set in Australia. That was very nice. And the real Thomas Logan says, Joaquin Tier's Sentimental Value, it's a new film that just opened, is a cinematic triumph. The legendary Stellan Skarsgård wins Best Supporting Actor this March, defeating Sean Penn. I don't know about that. Sean Penn was pretty fucking great. By the way, nobody told me.
Is he being paid by this company to, shill this movie?
Can I just say I finally did see one battle after another. Nobody told me about Sean Penn. That was rough, man. That was rough.
I haven't seen it, so don't spoil anything.
I'm not going to say anything. I won't
like
say anything.
You want to do. Hey, Rob, here's a question for you. So this weekend, there's this X-Men photo flying around. Looks totally fake to me. Bullshit.
Dude,
bullshit.
Totally
costumes.
AI.
Bullshit costumes. Don't believe it.
The costumes are pretty convincing, but
it looks terrible. It looks so fake. Come on, guys. How you fall for that?
Did you guys see Heart Eyes?
See what?
Did you see Heart Eyes?
Oh, yeah. I liked Heart Eyes.
I did not.
Hard Eyes was a wonderful slasher film that was absolutely in on the joke the whole time and like winking at you.
Yep.
And loved it.
Okay, let me
Yeah, I'm
ask,
surprised you didn't see that, Rob. What's wrong with you?
I didn't see it, but I've seen a lot of other things. Like, I'm very curious, Del, what do you think? I mean, we now have companies like A24, you've got Neon putting out things. How do you feel about the state of horror films now? I mean, this year is the biggest year. Warner Brothers basically made $1.2 billion off horror movies. The Conjuring Last Rites was the most successful of the franchise. Just shy, it might have crossed $500 million. Final Destination came back after 14 years. We got Sinners, we got Companion, we got Weapons. We have we got 2 Oz Perkins movies, The Monkey, and we just had Keeper. How do you feel about horror now?
Dude, there is so much great horror going on right now that it's hard to keep up with it all. I loved Weapons. Weapons was probably my favorite film of the year, with Bring Her Back a close second.
That movie is rough too.
That's good. That's good. Del likes those cheery movies.
But I mean, even the state of television, there's so many great series.
Welcome to Derry.
Dude, Daredevil, Born Again, that shit was great.
Yeah.
The Penguin. Task.
Yeah. Which just got renewed. What did Shayla say?
I don't know. She's yelling from a distance. Barry. She loved Barry. Oh, Ferry, the Amsterdam ecstasy dealer that had all kinds of spin-offs that's streaming on Netflix.
Man. Tell her I need to watch a movie about an Amsterdam ecstasy dealer.
Yeah, Rob, how did you miss that one?
I don't know.
There's so much horror. There's so many great graphic novels. There's so much just quality stuff to be entertained by that it's hard to stay up with all of it. It is.
What are you looking forward to in terms of things? I mean, do you go to the movies a lot?
Yes, we go pretty much every week or every other week.
Are there things coming up? Like how do you fall in the Avatar movies? We got a new Avatar movie coming out in a couple weeks.
Could not give a flying fuck. Okay, little blue weirdos can stay in their own universe.
I mean, yeah, it's just James Cameron's Smurfs movies.
Come on now.
I went to like Avatar Land somewhere, in Thailand or some shit. It was where was it? Singapore.
Oh.
And it was this massive structure of beautiful nature with like blue people sticking their faces out of a bush.
That's what he wanted. That's what he was going for.
Have you been to Japan since they opened the Godzilla you can rappel into? The giant
I have not done that. I've been to the Godzilla Hotel, and I was at the Godzilla art exhibition earlier in the year, and the art exhibition was beautiful.
Yeah, incredible. Who would have thought we would get one of the greatest Godzilla movies, Godzilla -1, that they're making a sequel to now?
Dude, the last Godzilla movie was phenomenal. It was perfect in every aspect of like getting it right.
Yeah,
totally agree. I mean, what a great I haven't
watched it in black and white though.
Oh,
but this whole black and white trend, I'm sorry, it doesn't work for me. Like Nightmare Alley in black and white. Sorry, it's a gorgeous looking movie with like color and everything. Fury Road in black and white. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Well,
these are gorgeous looking movies with gorgeous color. It's like, it doesn't really help. If you want to see a great version of Nightmare Alley in black and white, do your research. Go watch the original.
Has Guns N' Roses ever talked about doing writing like Wang Chung famously did the score for William Friedkin's To Live and Die in L.A.? Has Guns N' Roses ever thought about scoring a film all the way through?
I can't answer because I don't know the answer, but I would suspect that privately people would lean towards doing that. I know Slash has done scoring.
Yeah. because he's also a producer. He just produced the new Deathstalker movie.
Yeah.
He did.
Which I can't wait to see.
People like it too.
I just revisited the original Deathstalker.
Yeah.
More boobs, more blades. Like, was that a canon film? Because if it wasn't, it could have been.
It was a Corman pickup.
Yeah.
I believe. I think it was a New World. It was a New World picture.
You are right. It was New World.
But that's the thing I hear. What's missing from the new Deathstalker is there's more blades, no boobs.
That's unacceptable.
It's not good.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
And the lady that gets killed, Lana
Clarkson.
Lana Clarkson's in the original.
And she's the one that Phil Spector
murders her. Yes.
Took
By
out.
the way, I was wondering if she would show up, but I think other than Castle Grayskull, of course, but in terms of one of our greatest fans of this particular YouTube show, Miss 50 and Still Metal is here. And she sends in a question. She sends in a tip. She says, "This is awesomeness. Many summer of 1988 memories of listening to Appetite for Destruction, looking forward to the consensual violence graphic novel, and you had me at Miss 45." Which, by the way,
is on 4K.
I just got my box set from Arrow, the 4K box set of Miss 45. The R&R genre is a favorite on our physical media show, which celebrates its 5th anniversary tomorrow.
Wow.
Nice.
Where is the box set? Do you have a handy right there?
It's in the kitchen, actually. I keep everything in the kitchen, the new stuff stacked up so I can then know where it is and bring it down. But it's really nice. I mean, Dieter showed it a couple weeks ago, but it's one of their proper box sets. And the transfer is stunning. I mean, that's another thing. Watching movies like Thriller, A Cruel Picture, and Miss 45, and with these beautiful, I feel kind of, well, one, I feel a little dirty that I'm buying them as an old man, and two, I don't apologize.
There's nothing wrong with it. I have a physical media library, and there's not enough shelf space for all of the discs. So
and it's all wrong. It's all wrong titles. You look at it and you go, oh man, conservatives would just melt.
Yeah, no.
They'd melt down.
If the house was a crime scene and they discovered the physical media, it would be like, oh yeah, motherfucker's guilty.
I got this lovely thing from Germany recently.
Love Gab.
Right on the cover. But it's Jess Franco. So, what are you going to say?
So it's boring.
Come on, man.
Jess Franco.
I did get, I shouldn't say that. I'm going to get in trouble. But there's a lot of, it's crazy what you get on physical media these days. Is there anything, on physical media, Del, is there a dream movie that has yet to be released in 4K, especially because, Second Sight, we're getting everything. We're getting that the Beyond box was incredible. Second Sight's putting out.
We got The Keep finally.
The Keep finally came out in 4K, but we're getting, we got Reanimator from Ignition or Ignite or whatever, and we're getting it from Second Sight. Possession's coming out in 4K from Second Sight. Is there a film that has not? What's your Grail disc that you don't own?
No, that you've Pieces is available in transfer.
Yeah.
When
still waiting for the 4K of that though.
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming.
You don't have to go to Texas for a chainsaw massacre.
It's exactly what you think it is.
You could never. It's sad you can't make a movie like that today,
dude. Filmed in South America, where
I know
cheap.
That was Snuff. That was the tagline for Snuff.
Yeah,
filmed in South America, where life
is cheap.
So we used to go to the movies a lot in Mamaroneck, New York, at the Mamaroneck Playhouse, and if a friend of yours wasn't the usher to let you in, you knew how to get in through the fire exits. So we saw a lot of movies, and I saw the Gates of Hell. I saw Mark of the Devil. I saw Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I saw all kinds of stuff. I saw the Anderson tapes, The Taking of Pelham, 1, 2, 3, yada, yada, yada. So we saw William Lustig's Maniac, and that became the bar. That became the standard by which all other movies were judged. So the conversation would go a little something like this. Yo, bro, you see Scarface yet? Yeah, but it ain't Maniac.
I'll tell you, this is a true story. So when I was 13, Seattle had what was generally considered to be the second video store in the United States. And these guys who ran it, it was this guy named Bud Warner and a guy named Steve Pitcher took me under their wing because I would just go to this video store and just look through the stacks. And they're like, kid, if you're going to come in here every day, why don't you unwrap the new tapes, put the styrofoam in the boxes, re-shrink wrap the boxes, put them on the thing. So I'm working, and what I didn't know was that Bud Warner was tied into the bootleg videotape market. Now, this is 1980. Maniac was regionally released, so it wasn't like today where Maniac comes out all over the country. It came out on the East Coast, I think in New York first. Mm-hmm. So one day he comes to me and he says, because Maniac was being covered in Fangoria and stuff, and Tom Savini did the effects, and Caroline Munro was in it, and Joe Spinell, you know, his life's work. He hands me a tape. And it was a bootleg. It was the second bootleg tape I had ever. But I had Maniac on VHS before it arrived on the West Coast. And it was, you know, the movie's very dark. So it was not a very, you know, watching bootleg videotapes in 19. But it didn't matter because you could see enough. And like you said, and it was more lurid, the tape I had. It was far worse when he was scalping women. And I mean, and the gunshot scene when he jumps on the car. That movie, like you said, there was nothing that compared because of how lurid it was. You know, and what Joe Spinell, he'll never get the credit he deserves for that movie. That movie was fucked up. And when I saw it at 13 on a horrible bootleg tape, man, that movie messed me up.
I'm going to take this conversation even further down into the swamp and the sewer.
Oh, please.
Chayla was with me, and we were in Denmark, I want to say. And we went to this local video store, and he had a really cool selection of stuff. And so I'm speaking to the clerk, and I'm like, all right, challenge me. You know, what do you got that's going to do some damage? What's your most fucked up film? He goes into the back and he gets a copy of Forced Entry. And he goes, this is the most fucked up film ever made. I don't know if either of you gentlemen ever seen Forced Entry, but Forced Entry stars Harry Reams essentially as a Vietnam vet rapist.
Wow.
And it's an X-rated rape celebration with cuts of Vietnam intercut into it. I would be willing to bet money that William Lustig saw this on 42nd Street and some of its DNA worked its way into Maniac.
Wow. That what you just described, that's 1973. And wow.
Harry Reams, who stars in Deep Throat, and in trial for obscenity and all this kind of stuff. He's lived a very colorful life. He says the only thing he ever regrets was having made Forced Entry.
Is it on 4K though?
Wow, it's an adult horror film directed by Sean Castello. He was taught to kill. Rape was his own idea. Is on the poster. Wow. This
we just broke the sleazometer.
Wow, man, this is rough. Wow, I've never even heard of this.
I have a copy. How can I resist? Come on. This is the most fucked up film ever.
Yeah, we should.
And if you heard that in you said Amsterdam?
Denmark.
Oh, in Denmark, you have to get it. You know,
Yeah, we
it's a
should have
moral
a-
imperative.
We should have a festival of the most fucked up movies we've ever seen, and see who wins.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's the one sheet.
Woo.
Yeah, it's an ugly film.
Wow.
Wow, that is. Now I'm dirty. Now I feel
What
dirty.
I like to call the wire brush movies, where you feel you have to take a shower with a wire brush afterwards.
We got some more comments. Speaking of Europe, not Denmark, but Sweden. Stubble McShave says, "Did you guys get the Deep Purple deluxe box set of Made in Japan? Sad to hear that 2026 will be the last year for Ian Gillan touring. Do you think the rest will call it quits as well? By the way, Rob, unfortunately missed the members chat earlier. I had things to show." Well, Stubble's one of our great members of this channel, and he is a metal fan. He's also he has a great taste in books and fantasy. So what do you think about Deep Purple? That new box set is incredible.
I haven't seen the new box set, but I am a Deep Purple fan. I love the Coverdale, Tommy Bolin, Glenn Hughes lineup. Come Taste the Band and Burn, and those records are fantastic, as is the classic Ian Pace, Ian Gillan, Roger Glover, Richie Blackmore, and John Lord lineup. I used to have Live in Japan on video, and it was this weird like sepia tone. It wasn't black and white, it wasn't color, it was just kind of washed out gold.
Speaking of Coverdale, how do you feel about when singers and stuff, announce their retirement and decide to go out before they're losing their mojo?
Well, we've all seen clips on the internet of singers struggling. And when it gets past a certain point, it's time to call it a day, because you can't do what's expected of you. And that Coverdale feels that it's his time. I mean, he certainly earned a retirement,
Well, the other thing is snowballing into that, because I want to get to this before we let you go. Speaking of farewells, we're at the epic Black Sabbath, Ozzy final hurrah. There's this epic, one of the most epic festivals there's ever been in rock music.
Back to the beginning.
Yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit? Just like what it was like being there and seeing this with your own eyes.
There was never in my lifetime a more important concert or music event than Back to the Beginning. And everybody who was there out of love and respect for Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath. It was emotional for like days afterwards. I couldn't really talk about it without getting a little bit of wet eye, without tearing up, without choking up, because it was such a outpouring of love. And essentially, if you want to be honest, we were at a wake. Ozzy Osbourne got to attend his funeral and see and feel how much love the world has for him. And, I'm friends with Zakk Wylde, and I'm friends with Mike Inez, who have played with Ozzy for years. And it was difficult not to cry when talking, no matter how casual or laid back the conversation may have been. It was important. It was again, I'm struggling for fucking words, because Ozzy meant so much to all of us. Our our teenage delinquency. The soundtrack is Black Sabbath. Um, you know, to our generation, this is what, the death of John Lennon must have felt like. And I was watching the Monday Night Football broadcast when John Lennon gets murdered. And I remember being stunned by it, but I was too young to really feel the implications. And I wasn't that huge of a Beatles fan, but I'm a massive Black Sabbath fan. And everybody who performed on that stage was a massive Black Sabbath fan, and paying it back, giving the respect and the love that it deserves. And I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but it was very important to the members of Guns N' Roses to perform with respect, with honor, and pay tribute, which is why they chose the songs they chose, which is why on days off during a tour, we would book studios and go in to rehearse,
Wow.
Non-show days, they're not days off technically, but they can become them if there's nothing to do. It's a day where you can relax and get your legs back underneath you. We were going to studios in Germany. We were going to studios in London to do this thing properly. The show took place on a Saturday. The Friday was a show in Sweden. So Guns N' Roses do their 3-hour set. Then there were private planes waiting. We flew to Birmingham. There was a sound check at like 9 a.m. and then performed, spoke to people, made the rounds. Lots of emotion, lots of choked up people there for the right reasons. And then that same night we flew to Finland because we had a show in a day or two. So a lot went into being a part and participating in something so important. And it's because it was so important that it got done.
It's amazing. And
Amazing.
I don't know if you can confirm this or not. Was that the first time that Axl and Ozzy like really spoke?
That was the first time that they met and they got along immediately.
Wow.
And two quick things. Axl was supposed to see him when our tour ended, but he passes away before. Like they had plans to continue this developing friendship. And so, okay, we're flying from London to Finland, and I'm on Axl's plane with him. And we're both in the back of this little private charter. And I watched my dear friend, I watched my boss, I watched my fucking guy literally sink into his chair and go, okay, the tour's over, right? And I knew exactly what he meant, because after such a intense show, such a high of highs, that no disrespect to Finland, but he just went 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali,
Absolutely amazing.
Amazing. I mean, that's an incredible story.
No, that's the thing. We were watching it live and we were all like in tears watching it. But more tears out of joy, seeing him be able to, who wouldn't want this experience in their own lives to be able to, in a way, like you said, be at your own wake and be able to see and thank everyone for everything.
And that he performed. Even though he was sitting in his throne, he must have been. What was it like? What were you thinking when he was up there singing and killing it?
It was beautiful. It was fucking beautiful. It was a triumphant moment for somebody. So before the show, there's all kinds of whispers and fears, and Ozzy's not going to be able to perform, or he's only going to be able to do 2 songs, and all of this worried concern. When he did as much as he did, it was phenomenal. And everyone who had heard the whispers, the rumors, or was aware of the situation, you couldn't help but feel overwhelmed and overjoyed that he got to go out on his own terms in terms of performing with, Zach and Mike, as well as with
Jakey Lee and
all kinds of super.
I mean, yeah, he and Jakey Lee hadn't seen each other in what, like, was it 27 or 37 years? It was a long time,
I saw the Bark at the Moon tour at Madison Square Garden, like circa 84 or so, 85, and Motley Crue on Shout at the Devil was the opening act.
Right. Which must have been the famous Snorting Ants tour.
I believe you are correct.
Protein, dude. Protein.
I just have Rob, for me, I've just got one last question for Del before we let him go. And that's just sort of like, Del, you've seen so much, you've experienced so much. There's, you've seen the world, you've experienced so many different cultures, and you're into all these things. I'm just sort of curious, is like, what keeps you going? What keeps you excited about things? You're doing new things. Consensual Violence is a new venue, in graphic novels and everything. But what keeps you what keeps you jazzed? What keeps you, motivated and doing this? Especially when sometimes there are dark times. There are,
Yeah, no, I think it's just part of my DNA and my personality. When you asked earlier about what shaped me, it's the same stuff I still love today, whether it be horror or rock and roll or sports or whatever it is that's how I get my kicks. I continue to enjoy these things. And it's not like I have to get motivated to go to the movies. You know what I mean? If there's a movie I want to see, I'm going. If there's a museum I want to see and I have the opportunity to see it, I'm going.
I would like to throw out something. How about your lovely wife spinning on her rope, man? Come on. Wow.
Dude,
that shit is dope as fuck.
It's right there. You go.
I get to watch football while she does aerial.
All the way to the ceiling. You go, Chayla.
She's on the couch clapping. Thank you.
She's like, I want to go to bed. Fuck off, Rob.
Hey, man, she puts that shit on social media. We've seen it. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it is.
She's so strong and so into aerial. Again, you ask a question, what keeps you going? It's something you love.
100%.
Wise words. Wise words.
So this Tuesday, coming up, Thanksgiving week, you can get Del's graphic novel, Consensual Violence, which sounds, you had Miss 50 with MS-45. So there you go.
It's awesome. It's an awesome read, and it's one of those reads where you pick it up and you don't put it down until you're done.
That's incredible.
I can say that. It's really great.
Del, can people find you or is it Dark? What's the name of the comic company?
The comic book company.
The publishing company.
Publishing company.
Is Dead Sky Publishing.
Does Dead Sky have a presence on the web? Can you go to their website?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I don't know if it's deadsky.com, but if you Google Dead Sky Publishing, you'll find a way there. And they have been nothing but, fantastic and nurturing and wonderful to work with. And I am grateful for my relationship with Dead Sky.
Yeah, and and that's the thing. All the things that they offer are all like really kick-ass. They're all like really awesome, like biographies and books and graphic novels and stuff. What they're getting into, what they're doing is really, it's in a way, it's very much of a brand that's just really awesome. It's just like really, really cool shit. So I highly recommend checking that out.
At the forefront of that is Jeremy Wagner. He really is passionate about all the things that we love, and he wants to share it with the world.
That's great. No,
Well, that's
and
fantastic.
He's Chicago based, right? Is he
Chicago based? He's the guitar player in Broken Hope. He's also in a grindcore band called Earthburner, and he's a wonderful friend.
That's awesome. We should get him on.
You should get him on.
We should get him on.
We should definitely get him on. You'll have to hook us up with him.
A piece of cake. Piece of fucking cake.
Well, Del, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to come on and hang out with us for 2 hours. It's very great. It's great to see you again. And
likewise. You haven't changed a bit.
A little older.
You look exactly the same.
Little fatter. I've got to lose some weight, but thank you. I appreciate that. And back at you and back at your wife. Shayla was always one of our favorite people. I don't think anyone has ever met your wife and not fallen madly in love with her platonically, but she's one of the more delightful people I've ever met. So, and it was great to see you at Scow's birthday party too. I was hoping to see you, Del. And you guys are the greatest couple in the world. So here, give him a kiss on the cheek. I'll go full frame. Look, see, there you go.
Aww.
There. Oh, see, there you go. It's fantastic.
Love is
you guys,
there.
by the way, you guys have been together for 20 years?
Since 2008. 2008.
2008, but wow, okay, so you're getting up on 20 years. There you go.
You're way too young for that, Rob. Come on.
I'm just saying. By the way, Marcos Esquindola says Del James is a legend, and he sends in a $50 super chat to say that,
which Rob is going to generously share with me.
I'll give to Dave, but I will. Sure, I'll give you that. But Marco, thank you so much for that. Del James is a legend.
About Del Police Academy 6.
That's true. I was in Police Academy 6.
Were you a cop?
No, I was a looter.
No way.
Televisions out of a storefront, and Deacon Jones arrests me. Or
was
Bubba
that
Smith.
The Miami one?
Yeah, it's Police Academy 6. I don't remember which.
It's not Mission to Moscow. It must be the Miami one.
I was in Police Academy 6, and I was also an extra in Roadhouse. I was in all of the bar fight scenes, just as not a featured extra or anything like that, just a seat filler. But we got to see Jeff Healy play all the time. Terry
Holy
Funk
shit!
Wow,
Swayze. Yeah,
that's amazing.
And this.
Do you have any plans to be in any other movies soon?
Of course, but I can't talk about that on the
air. He's remaking the Harry Reams movie, guys.
Actually, we could probably get the rights cheap.
Yeah, we probably could get Forced Entry pretty cheap.
Yeah, boy, that conversation took a shit.
That's
all right.
Great show. Let's talk about Forced Entry.
Woo!
No, we should talk about one more time, everybody. This Tuesday, get the graphic novel Consensual Violence by Del James, with incredible artwork. And I love this cover, by the way. I want to get a poster of that. Comes out this Tuesday. You can get it from Amazon. I'm sure you can get it at your comic book shop. Written by the legendary Del James. So that's very incredible. Del,
and Language of Fear is still available too for people.
Correct.
Oh yeah, and get this book. I mean, this is the new version of Language of Fear, and it says right there it's the cult classic, and now available in a brand new edition. It includes the story that inspired Guns N' Roses' hit video November Rain. I mean, look, man, I think anybody of the period still thinks about Stephanie Seymour. That's all I'm saying. And you guys had to kill her. You had to kill Stephanie Seymour. Oh, well. It's still a great song and a great music video. I have an off-color story. If I see you again, I'll tell you about it. That has to do with November Rain and a girl named Jennifer Hundley. I'll tell you that story later.
Yes, please.
Right on.
All right. Well, we'll let you go, Del. Thanks so much.
And hopefully everybody enjoyed this.
Oh, I think they did. This was a real treat, and thank you so much. And Shayla, thank you for loaning us your lovely husband.
Yes.
And thanks for being lovely and literally not changing in 20 years.
Aww.
So that's what Ariel does for you. I'm going to start myself.
I'd like to see that.
I'll try it. I'll probably fall off the ceiling. I'll pull it down.
That's why I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I know. All right, Del. Well, we will see you later. All right, man.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks so much. That was fantastic, dude. Fantastic.
And now we're following up.
Well, hang on a second. You got to give me a minute. When we have people coming on after Del, I have to then readjust and put them in the show. So Dave, I'm going to let you opine for a minute. Why don't you talk? You got the floor.
Hi, folks. Hello. How are you?
What is this, story time?
Are you having fun? I'm working on a new horror movie that's going to change the landscape of everything.
It's actually pretty cool if it's what you sent me the other day.
Oh yeah, it's just going to be like the most earth-shattering. Forget a Serbian film, forget Forced Entry. This will be the one that they remember me for. How's everyone? You all having a good night?
Well, that's it. That's your material. I let you riff, and that's all I get from you.
Well, okay. A couple things that I think are kind of cool. As people who've watched the show know, I'm a unpaid shill for my friend's band. No, actually, I'm just a huge fan of this band, Chaosium. Their fourth album is out now, if you guys don't know, called Life for Sale. I sent Rob a JPEG.
You mean this?
That right there. And it's awesome. It's really great. They've got a couple music videos on YouTube now from this album. The other thing that was kind of exciting that came out Friday was a collaboration with Aerosmith and Youngblood, which is a new EP that came out, which is pretty stellar. I got to say, for metal fans, Youngblood was the guy who, during the Back to the Beginning show with Ozzy, did changes and he was already like huge, but kind of blew up in a much bigger, massive way. And so his collaboration, his EP with Aerosmith and Steven Tyler back singing and sounds amazing and everything else in it. His voice is incredible, where one doctor said he would never be able to sing again. Proved that guy fucking wrong. And Aerosmith also had a really incredible set at Back to the Beginning, or Steven Tyler did. So yeah, so there's a couple new things that are exciting. I'm seeing what else? I'm going to see Sisu sequel tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go check that out.
Okay, Dave, the real question I have for you is in December,
hopefully will not be homeless. Yes.
Are you going? And me too. I'm up there too. Are you going down to LA? I think it's on the 3rd of December, which I just realized might be a conflict with my USC event with Brian Fuller. But anyway, Wang Chung, for the 40th anniversary
of To Live and
Die in LA, is performing in downtown LA. And this, who's got tickets and parking passes? This guy.
So are you inviting me?
No.
Oh, well then, no, I won't be going.
No. I mean, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what. If Elizabeth doesn't want to go, and she frequently doesn't, I will bring you.
Okay.
I will bring
That'd
you.
That'd be amazing. So are they going to play against the movie live?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm wondering if they are, and then they're going to play, because, they didn't have enough music. There's not a lot. They've got Wait. They've got Dance Hall Days.
I wonder why.
In LA?
In LA. That they wouldn't play the whole thing.
Well, there's not enough music. They don't. There's a lot.
That's true. So they're just going to be doing songs.
I think they might, but also they're because you can't Wang Chung tonight watching To Live and Die in LA because they hadn't put that album out yet. So
well, you know.
What can you do? Now
Some
we have a
people-
special guest to follow
Yes,
up.
another author.
Another
We're
author.
following it. Tonight is book night.
Tonight is book night, and I'm very excited to have Rob G on the show, Rob Gluzzo. And you might have watched here right on this channel, the Icons of Fright, 5 podcasts over 5 consecutive weeks to promote the release of the book, Icons of Fright, which is a compilation of 100 interviews with horror luminaries. And you can also get that when you buy Del James's graphic novel. You also put in your basket before you hit click and buy the Icons of Fright book. You can get it either for Kindle, you can get it in softcover, or you got to drop the green on the hardcover. So please welcome
beautiful
Rob G to the
There
show.
he is. And
There
if
he
you,
is.
and,
It says Del James. Hang on, I forgot to
and
change
if
your
you,
name
and,
there. I'm
and
sorry
you,
about
if
that.
you haven't watched the Icons of Fright podcast or vidcast, the 5 episodes, what's wrong with you people? Get on
Yeah.
it. Get
Yeah,
on it.
There you go.
There's
Now I've
so
changed
much-
his name.
there's so many fun stories. Talks about the history of how this all came about. Talks about the book. A lot of great stories to it. I don't know. I just
I fucked myself up when I put Rob in the show.
Yeah,
Hang on.
well, we're both kind of halfway in Rob's.
Yeah, you keep talking. Don't worry, I'll take care of that.
Dave,
but-
can you hear me first and foremost?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the book is incredible. I mean, being someone who's featured in the book, I can say this: the interviews are different from what you get from normal sort of interviews. Rob and his crew, they dig deeper. They get way more into things, and there's things in each interview that you're not going to ever hear or read anywhere else. Am I right? Or am I right?
I concur. No, I appreciate that, Dave, and we will delve into that. In particular, some of the newer stuff and the lost interviews that we kind of put in there because there's just stuff I've never read or heard before. Before we start talking about Icons of Fright, though, shout out to Del James. I also picked up the comic earlier today.
Nice.
I've read half of it, and it's awesome. So you guys should pick this up as well.
Well, I just like the fact that we're promoting our friend's work, and Rob, you also have music out.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I listened into a lot of your Dell conversation, and I love music. I did a documentary called Analog Love about
Which is on Blu-ray.
It's on Blu-ray. I have it right here. But for everybody watching here, you can watch it for free on YouTube. There's a YouTube channel called Inside the Music, and they're streaming it for free right now. And it's got Henry Rollins and the late Kim Shattuck and Jennifer Finch and all these people. I just grew up a huge fan of music as well as movies, and I feel like the art of the mixtape has it's long gone. It's evolved into other things like playlists and all that, but there was something special about sharing music with people. And it was funny because you guys were talking about when kind of the shift between Guns N' Roses and metal into kind of the grunge era. And you have to remember there's a photo that gets passed around a lot of a stack of cassettes from 1991 pointing out that all these albums came out roughly around the same time. And it's Guns N' Roses Use Illusion 1 and 2, Metallica the Black Album, Nirvana Nevermind, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Pearl Jam 10. And it's like mind-boggling that this many amazing albums all came out kind of around the same time. So I loved what Del said that I'm paraphrasing, but he said it killed off the week.
That's a great quote.
Yeah, I thought so too. So,
but you also have you just posted and other people. What people should know also, it's right behind your shoulder there too. Is you did the Psycho Legacy, which is
yes.
It is the documentary about the making of that entire series, and that's also now on YouTube as well.
Yeah, and Dave Parker is in it as well, which is great. You want
people to watch it, Rob. Don't tell them I'm in it.
My first documentary was The Psycho Legacy, and this came out in 2010, which is kind of crazy that it's been that long. But Shout Factory put this out before there was a Scream Factory. I mean, you know, Rob and Dave have a history of working on behind the scenes documentaries for films that we all love. And at this moment in time, I mean, now so many fans have kind of taken it in their own hands in making these documentaries. But in this moment in time, there were like DVDs of the Psycho sequels with no features whatsoever. It was always focused on the first one, which is fine because the first one's a classic. But I grew up on the sequels, and I wanted so desperately to know about them. And I literally just took matters into my own hands and started shooting interviews. So it's been 15 years. There was kind of a technicality in terms of streaming, but the rights reverted back to me, and this DVD from Shout Factory is now out of print, so they don't exist anymore. I just decided I just want people to see it, so I put it up on my YouTube channel for free on Halloween. So I just, if you like Psycho, by all means, please check it out. Come to my channel, subscribe, the whole deal. I'm still very proud of it. Technically, I made a lot of rookie mistakes, but in terms of the content and how the doc plays, I'm still very proud of it. And who knows? There's tools now that help clean up sound and picture that if I have time, I might go back and try to clean it up a little bit because I'm still really proud of it.
One of the things I think is cool about our modern age is, like, Dave and I worked on a lot of documentaries in the early 2000s, and a lot of those documentaries have been subsequently re-released recently on 4K offerings. Kino Lorber and Arrow put out The Usual Suspects, and that was the very first documentary that I was able to get, and that was for a company, an early company I had called Endless Entertainment. And Kerry, David, and I were producing it, and Dave was cutting it. And the three of us made what I thought was it's really incredible. I mean, I think getting all those people to be involved, and Kevin Spacey making sure that, I'll say something nice about Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey wouldn't do it unless we were able to get all the rest of the suspects and Bryan Singer. And to Brian's credit, he agreed to do it. And we had to drive to see Stephen Baldwin in the depths of... But anyway, it came out and it was re-released on 4K. And our Valley Girl documentary that basically I was in New Zealand and Dave took the lead in that and put together a great group of people. And we worked with a really great guy at MGM.
Greg Carson,
who is a terrific rock and roller. Terrific
guy. I mean, that's the thing. If you guys like, we got Nick Cage, we got Martha Coolidge, we got Frederick Forrest before he, shuffled off. He and Colleen Camp did the interview together, which was a lot of fun. We got,
what was really cool is that it got released in the UK in a box set. Eureka put this out.
Wow.
And to see all of our work, I mean, revived and to get, there's a book, really nice book, and great special features with a reversible cover. They had new artwork. And our MGM, it was very funny. When I did Usual Suspects, MGM asked me, they were so happy with what we all did. They said, well, you can do anything you want next. And I said, I want to live and die in LA. And they said, you can't have it because Bud Smith, the editor, did a documentary on it. And I said, okay, how about Valley Girl? And they said, really? And I was like, well, yeah. And what was really interesting about that was the special features were only released once on this disc, and they almost immediately went out of print. And they were gone for 25 years. Well, with 2003. We did that, and then to see them come back in the last couple of years, and same with Usual Suspects. Those were delivered in 2001, and they were never seen again, those special features, until Kino and Arrow put our stuff on that disc. And it was great to see it come back. So to see the Psycho Legacy, you might be worried about the technicality of it, but people don't care if the content's good, and it is good. That's a really, I mean, was that, Rob? Was the Psycho Legacy one of the first of? It was it was not officially affiliated with Universal or Psycho. You did it on your own, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was when I started it was one of the first what I call fan-made docs, because then a lot of other fans that were aspiring filmmakers like me were also doing similar stuff. So I started that at the same time that Paul Davis was doing Beware the Moon, his documentary,
which is also a great documentary.
Which is great. And so, and that was a Universal title too. So we were kind of like trading stories about, okay, how has it been with you, and etc. But by the time I finished it, because it took me a couple of years, because again, I lived in New York at the time. I'd come out here on the weekends and shoot interviews and then go back and slowly put it together. By the time we finished it, there were quite a lot. I mean, His Name Was Jason had come out already. That kind of was a production, and I helped out on the New York side of that, but that was like one of the first. And Halloween 25 Years of Terror, there were a whole lot of them starting to happen. And also remember those titles now, it's again, you guys were talking before about how everything's available in 4K now. At that moment, they weren't the studios weren't exploiting their whole catalog yet. I mean, I remember a time when we didn't think we'd ever get Fright Night and Candyman because they were Sony and nobody could license from them until Nick Redman got Fright Night for Twilight Time. But yeah, in that moment in time, nobody was really doing that sort of thing, and now people have done. There's just so much great material out there for everything. So, yeah, it all ties in. It was really great going back in time and kind of. I hadn't watched this in 10 or some odd years, so it was really cool to see it again and get excited about the Psycho sequels, and it made me want to watch them again. Have the great Arrow box set, and simultaneously, I mean, what that documentary stemmed straight out of my experiences doing interviews for Icons of Fright. And this book is I mean, I'm really proud of it. Me and the three Icons guys, we started this website in 2004, so 21 years ago. And we didn't have an ambition other than we really want to talk to these people, and we really have a lot of respect and reverence for everything they've done, good, bad, and ugly in between. And we really want to hear their story and not just ask the same old questions or the same sound bites that they got. And like you said about Usual Suspect disappearing, I remember I waited for the 4K just to get your documentary.
Right.
I was so bummed that it wasn't on the Blu-ray. There's things. What's interesting to me about putting this together, and we talk about it a lot on the podcast that we did for your network, is 2004 to 2012 is like the chunk of most of the material that's in here. And that was a time in the internet where there was all these great movies coming out from Anchor Bay, and there was like this celebratory feeling of a lot of these lower budget horror movies that everybody was like, this is the new one to see now, whether it be Hatchet or Wrong Turn 2 or whatever it was. But a lot of the coverage for those movies on the internet, like, it's disappeared because all those sites have disappeared. So all these reviews and interviews and things that used to exist online are just kind of gone. So there's a whole, I'll give you an example. I interviewed David Arquette in this. We talk about Scream, but I interviewed him for his film The Tripper, his directorial debut. And I rewatched The Tripper. I have it on DVD. It's not streaming anywhere. It's not available on any other format of DVD, and I still had it here. And I watched it. I showed it to my friend Ryan, and he went to a convention the following weekend that David Arquette was at, and he brought it up. And apparently David was so ecstatic that somebody remembered that he directed a horror movie. And I'm like, dude, you should be proud of it. It's a guy in a Ronald Reagan mask, Chris Nelson in a Ronald Reagan mask, like axing a bunch of hippies at a festival run by Paul Rubens. I mean, that movie's insane. And it's kind of forgotten along with a handful of other ones that are in here. So that's been the fun thing, is like revisiting that kind of, I don't want to call it a golden period, but it was just a cool period that all of us, the three of us, were kind of a big part of. So
what's it like? I mean, I love the fact that the book has multiple formats, but that hardcover, to see your work, because I think you can't be a fan of movies like we were and not have an extensive collection of film books. I mean, you know, Tim Lucas's All the Colors of the Dark, you know, his life's work. I had to get it, you know, and what's it like when you first got that book and held it, the hardcover, and held it in your hand? What was that like for you? I mean, here's this work that you revived after a long period of time, something born of love, and it's been revived and put out in 2025, you know? What was that like?
Yeah. Emotional for when I got the first proof of it. Now, you know, formats, Parker Press has been great. They do a lot of great horror books. They push the paperback because that's the cheaper option, and they assume that you know, that's the one that most people want to buy. It was very important for me that it be hardcover because, like you said, I'm a film fan, and I wanted, this is our one time collecting all these interviews. I wanted it to be a hardcover book. But really, I haven't lost touch with the primary people. I created Icons of Fright with Mike Cucinato, and Adam Barnick and Jason Alvino are two dear friends that were really a big part of these early years. So it's really the four of us, again, doing it for no other reason than sincerity, because we loved movies, we loved horror movies, and we loved learning about them, like the process and how these stories happen, because everyone has a completely different story, and nobody can mimic it. You could just kind of learn from it and be like, oh, that's interesting, and take that with you. But getting it and proofing it, it feels like my high school yearbook. I did not have a good time in high school at all. It was really tough, and I've told you a million times, I was a monster kid, and I was the only monster kid. And I didn't meet other monster kids until these guys.
Tell the folks at home where you grew up.
Long Island, New York. And I met Mike Cucinato, my co-creator, also lived in New York, and he was managing a Hot Topic. And my vague memory is that we met at a party and didn't get along, or I just thought he was a little too abrasive for me the first time I met him.
Shocking.
But we had a coworker. We had a friend in common that worked at Hot Topic with him. And I used to, you know, my dad, rest his soul, he was always into the new gadgets. And he was the first person I know that bought a projector so that we could project DVDs against the wall. And we called it the wall. We didn't have a screen. We just projected on a giant white wall. And this was like the coolest thing to all my Long Island friends. So our mutual friend Vin would always say, like, dude, we're going to Rob's for a wall night. And they invited Mike. And I remember the first movie we watched together on the wall was John Carpenter's The Fog. And literally that night we just couldn't stop talking because I'd finally found somebody that knew who Dario Argento was and all that. And it was kind of funny. I wish I had a photo of it still, but I was working at Tower Records at the time in Massapequa as a store artist. And they let me curate a end cap. It was all VHS at that point. It was just becoming DVD. But I remember I curated like Rob G's picks or whatever. And I had Dario Argento's Opera. I had Chopper, the movie with Eric Bana.
Yeah,
I had
Eric
Things
Bana,
to Do in
yeah.
Denver When You're Dead, Suicide Kings. Just like weird culty movies. Donnie Darko, all of it. And when I finally met Mike and we started Icons of Fright, he remembered my end cap from years ago. He's like, you know what? I went to Tower Records and I was like, who is this Rob G guy that knows Dario Argento's Opera? Like, nobody knows that here on Long Island. So we hit it off right away. And I don't remember. I mean, it all happened just so organically. Like, we were chatting at the diner and I wanted to get into web design. And I couldn't get a job. So it's like, let me just make a website of something I like. And he's like, we should do a horror website where we interview people. Because we had been going to the conventions together and you only get at that point, you get 5 minutes, you get something signed. And we just felt like, how can we make that interaction last just a little longer?
Right.
Well, we had a website, we'd have an excuse to interview people. And so that was our rationale. And again, we were very naive and just stumbled onto the first year's worth of people that are in here, like Betsy Palmer and Ben Chapman and people like that. But then come year 2, when we've kind of figured out, oh, this is like the cool thing. That's when we find Dave Parker, because Mike was a huge fan of The Dead Hate the Living, as was I. And I still...
Now, hang on. Let's pause there for a minute. Since Dave Parker is here. Dave.
What?
Dave, what is The Dead Hate the Living? Tell the folks at home.
It's a one man's folly into filmmaking.
Come on, man.
Well, it was my first. It's my first baby. It's my first movie that was made for Charles Band's Full Moon Entertainment in 2000. Well, it came out in 2000. It's made in 1999, and it is. It's a movie. It's a movie about I mean, Rob, really, what is it? It is the free enterprise, but for horror nerds.
Well, okay.
It's a very cool, unique movie from the Full Moon. At that period, I would buy or rent anything Full Moon made, right? Because I got comfortable with that brand at the video store, and I knew that they did cool, unique movies. Like, it's going to be the Killer Dolls or Jack Death or whatever it is,
or Small Things, whatever it was small.
Yeah, it was small, or it was like a big mob head or whatever.
Right. Oh yeah, head of the family.
I loved everything they were putting out, and I'd rent it without any hesitation. And Dead Hate the Living was super cool to me because it had this like cool looking comic book style creepy zombie face right on the front that looked like it was looking straight at you from like that video box. And I think we talk about it in your interview in the book, is like you could walk anywhere in the video store and it feels like that zombie's eyes are following you, which I loved. And also, I mean, what I will say, and I think you can feel, there it is. Look at that.
There it is.
Awesome.
Look at that thing.
I think the enthusiasm, you can read it in every conversation. And Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I have a vague memory of me, you and Mike going out and like bar hopping in Hollywood. I can't remember if that was.
Yeah, we definitely hit Bordner's.
Yeah, and I can't remember if that's when we actually did your interview or if it was just around that time.
It was around that time. We did the interview sober.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank God.
But I mean, it's a really great chat with Dave at that moment in time, kind of talking about
when I had hopes and dreams.
Much different than you sound in this book. Let me tell you.
But before, well, it must have come out after the movie. It did. The interview was after the movie came out, and I had been totally decimated and trounced by reviews, and my spirit had been like broken for a while and everything. So it was definitely after, because I know we talked about House of the Dead as well, which was such another really good experience. Yeah, but it was when I was, I mean, that's the thing, I thought that movie was in some ways, and Rob, don't take this the wrong way, it was probably the best experience I had, because I was so naive. I didn't know any better. When I did Hills, I was much more guarded.
I don't take it the wrong way.
I'd already gotten a taste of the meanness and of this business, so I was much more.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, we were much more guarded. But that that first, warts and all, whatever it is, it'll always be the purest sort of form. The thing is, it's always that hit that you're always chasing. It's always that what I mean is like that first drink you ever have, or that first buzz, that first whatever thing, you're constantly sort of chasing that. And the thing is, I think I don't think it's possible to get again because you change so much, and you're just so much. You're so used to people just we talk about it a lot on the show, but the film business is a mean, cruel, petty, egotistical beast that will just, if you try to be, the sad part is if you try to be a nice person or anything, it will chew you up and gladly spit you out. And the thing is, what always constantly bothers me about that is it's so unnecessary. It's just, people's fragile little egos and everything, when ultimately the ultimate goal should just be you want to make something good as it can be under the limitations of time and budget and everything else. And there are people who just have their own unnecessary petty agendas.
Are you saying we're not part of the Hollywood elite? That we're not in our coastal bubble?
Dude, I'm this close to being homeless and on Skid Row. So yes,
me too, in a way.
I
yes.
am not, not part of the Hollywood elite.
No, well,
so what's wonderful about the interview, even then, is that, and of course, I've gotten better, and you take things, but it was much more. There was much more of a sense of hope and everything. And I still have hope. Look, if I didn't, I wouldn't keep trying. So it's there. It's just, there's so much bullshit that we have to deal with. Rob, you've dealt with it on so many levels. both Robs have dealt with it on so many levels, just like I have. And so much of it is ego driven and not our egos, and unnecessary, and it's exhausting. And I don't.
Well, I mean, to be candid, I get that. I don't give a shit anymore. It's like,
well, that's ultimately where you end up being. I don't give a shit anymore. But there's also that thing. I mean, but the thing is, but you give a shit about the right things, because if you didn't give a shit, you wouldn't have put out the book.
Well, but
that type of thing.
I don't give a shit about people with their egos and being
right
or whatever. I have a small circle, and I'm totally fine with that, and it includes the two guys on this chat. But what I do give a shit about is the work. The work is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
Right. That's what keeps you going. The opportunity to be able to do that work.
Well, I would also say this. I mean, one of the things that I'll say, getting to know Rob G more has been a joy, a source of joy for me, because you and I have these really long phone conversations about the business and the industry, and I feel that they're very nurturing, they're nourishing, and I've quite enjoyed it. And the fact is, you told me about this, and you told me about a story about why, with a director, I guess, who told you and said, just get the work out there, and you told me that story, and I thought that philosophy was great. And what's interesting is your film Analog Love, I think, is actually quite good, and I really enjoy it, and I thank you for the Blu-ray, and everybody should go purchase the Blu-ray if you want to go get it. But what's interesting about all of us is there is unfortunately, the world we live in. This week on Twitter, someone said, and look, I talk mad shit, I understand, I'm completely open to it, but someone said, I looked you up. Apparently, all you've ever done of note was the Agent Cody Banks films, and other than that, you're just irrelevant. And I'm like,
I like that. That's what made you relevant.
Well, that's what I thought to myself. I'm like, and it's funny because everybody's coming at it from a different perspective, and I understand that. Like, I'm not Steven Spielberg. I wanted to be a cross between Kubrick, Carpenter, and David Cronenberg. That was my thing. That's what I told people that. And okay, maybe that didn't happen, but you know what? I'm proud of everything I did. Like, I think all the work we did, all the documentary work we did, were good. To me, Hills Run Red was an incredible triumph because it started out as a fakakta little thing that was brought to us, and we took an opportunity, and you need to take credit for this. You had a vision for this killer that's become one of the most iconic in terms of the look and all that. Killers I
Sure.
mean, we took this opportunity that was nothing.
But that's what we. And
The
that's
people
the
that hired me thought I was lying to them.
Oh,
and
I mean,
said I was full of shit when I told them we were going to go make it at Warner Brothers.
If you want to know the history of this movie, pick up the out-of-print Blu-ray for enormous amounts of money now.
I mean, I think it's hilarious, dude, that you and I made a movie with the executive producer of Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, and Predator, and the very partners that we had that came
And
to
Streets
me,
of Fire.
and Streets of Fire, and Lethal Weapon, and Die Hard, and those people,
and Ford Fairlane,
and were convinced, but they were convinced I was trying to steal money from them by getting an insurance policy. I'm like, okay, if we're in production, I need to have production insurance because if someone slips and falls in our office and bangs their head, I'm liable. And I tried to explain that to them. They thought I was doing something, and then they were totally convinced that I was lying.
And where are those people now?
Well,
they're not on the show.
But let me tell you one of my favorites.
They're not on this show.
Since we brought it up, let me tell you one of my favorite Hollywood stories, and I won't use their names. Carl Morano. So at Fever Dreams, I get a phone call from Warner Brothers Legal. This might be one of my favorite things in Hollywood. And if you don't understand the hierarchy, I fought for them to get full producer credits on a movie. And credits are important. Fought for them to get producer credits. Because if you have producer credits, executive producer credits are either people that were somehow peripherally involved in getting people involved, or they got money or whatever. But full producer credits in a movie is important. I felt, even though they thought I was a lying sack of shit, we ended up making a movie for Warner Brothers. It was incredible. Incredible. And Dave did we were in Bulgaria. It's a whole amazing thing. Get the Scream Factory DVD or Blu-ray. So I get a call from Warner Legal, and they say to me, your guys that you fought for getting producer credits have decided they don't want them, and they want to be executive producers instead. And the lawyer says to me, never in the history of Hollywood has anyone decided to give up their producer credits and would rather be an executive producer. And I felt, I'm like, never in my life. I fought for these guys to get their producer credits, even though they thought I was full of shit, because I felt they deserved it. They brought us a project. And even the lawyers at Warner Brothers are like, who the fuck are these motherfuckers? Like, why are they, what? And I couldn't for the life of me figure out, why would anybody do that? And then I realized,
they're not very bright.
No, if Joel Silver is the executive producer of your movie, if you think you're going to be an executive producer, maybe you'll be on the same title card with Joel Silver. And I'm like, first of all, I knew, probably Dave, you knew, even if they got executive producer credits, there is no way they are going to share a title. They're not going to share.
Joel Silver.
No, not with Joel Silver. And it was just that we had to deal with that. And this was after we made a movie. I mean, it was insanity. It never ends. I can't wait to write my memoir.
But again, this is the thing. Ultimately, I think the thing we all have to take away from this, it's like, one, none of us are done. Foolishly or not foolishly, we're all still trying to do stuff. Some of us medicate a little more than others have now, and I don't know.
I haven't had a drink in 2 weeks until tonight,
and it just brings it at you. Midnight Metal just brings it at you. It's like, oh god, I need a drink for this.
No, because I'm working out and getting back.
All
good.
But yeah, hopefully, knock on wood, we're still here, which is, amazing.
Well,
as
putting out
that difficult as it is and everything, but that's great, and that's what that's the nice thing about, in a weird way, this entire show has been about not giving up. It's like Del has this amazing longevity of things, and then he writes a book and that comes out, and then he does something else, and now he's got this new
Well, in his 60s, he did a graphic novel.
You
So
know,
totally.
and just never
Rob
stopping.
has his-
and Rob's got the documentaries that he's now unleashed into the world for everyone to see if they want to, and not have to deal with the bullshit. And the book, which is legitimately, if you are a horror fan, this is not, I'm not paid for it. If you're a horror fan, you owe it to yourself. This book has such insights about things that you just never hear about.
And Rob, you didn't just republish your old interviews as we've gone over. You went and got some really great new interviews with some really heavy hitter filmmakers. Tell us about going and getting those interviews, and who did you interview for the book?
Yeah, I mean, well, look, we started putting together. We kind of wanted to do the 100 best, or that's what we aimed at. It's like 100 seems like a good number, like 100 interviews. And in whittling them down and realizing, well, Icons ended, it didn't actually end. Other people took it over and did a great job with it. But in terms of the core original 4 people, we kind of went and started doing other things. I was doing horror podcasts, Killer POV, and then Shockwaves, and that's where my interviews kind of went. And other films, we kind of stopped doing it, and honestly, I just missed interviewing people. So our selling point, or what was cool, was I found lost interviews, and I figured those would kind of be okay, cool, something that you've never seen on the internet or never read before. In particular, the David Scow one I think is great because we're all very good friends with him now. But at this moment in time, I didn't know him very well. I interviewed him for the Psycho Legacy. And so me, Mike, and Jay sat at his place and talked to him very openly about his career, about Leatherface, to me, it was one of the first times he was very open about The Crow. And even his pitch to Michael Bay for what ended up being Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. So rereading that was kind of a lot of fun in retrospect. And by the way, side tangent note, one of my fondest memories after the Icons period was doing the Fangoria article for The Hills Run Red at David Scow's place with you guys and the cast, because you guys shot it in Bulgaria, and it's not like Fangoria was going to send somebody there.
No,
but it was something that came up in conversation, and Tony Timpone, bless him, has always been so good to me. And I think, I mean, I can't remember exactly. I think I just pitched it to him. And he's like, if you can get to everybody, then absolutely. And that came together so quickly. I think Dave helped me just get everybody together, and we went and hung out at Scow's. I recently found the original tapes of that night, that conversation.
Wow.
And it was just, that's on my website, by the way. It's in, I can't remember which issue of Fangoria it is, but the scanned pages and the full
I have to say, for me to get the pages, that was one of the highlights, believe it or not, of my entire career. Getting in the pages of Fangoria, that was something. I mean, I bought issue number 1 with Godzilla on the cover off the stand when it was 79.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was, I bought that first issue as a Starlog fanatic when it was coming out. I mean, people forget Spock from Star Trek: The Motion Picture was on the cover of issue 4.
Yep.
R2 and 3PO, cover 6?
No, 3. I think 2 or 3. They were on the cover of 2 or 3. It was early.
Okay. Well, it was.
We should have gotten the cover over Zombieland, though.
I 100% agree with that.
That's when they weren't doing the film strips on the side either.
Yeah. That was. But you know what? Because for me, I didn't go to school for journalism. I didn't have a journalism degree, so I didn't think that writing for Fangoria was ever in the cards. But again, I had a great relationship with Tony, and he saw how hard we worked on Icons of Fright. He was the first person I ever interviewed ever. He's in the book, but it's the first interview I ever did with somebody. And he was so supportive over the years that when an opportunity came up to contribute to Fangoria, he gave me a shot. And that issue, I mean, I did The Hills Run Red and The House of the Devil in the same issue of Fangoria. So
wow.
To me, that's kind of a high point for me, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, that's really dope.
And the thing,
go ahead.
No, go
ahead. I was
going
to say, I was going to get back to Rob's questions about the new stuff in here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the template always was like, I want you to feel like when, as a reader, if you came to Icons of Fright, the website, or now the book, we want you to feel like you sat down at a diner with these people and really delved into their earliest horror recollections, how they got into the business, because everyone's story is a little bit different, and then really dig into maybe the humor or the complexities or whatever it is about their filmography and the stuff that they did, and hopefully get some fun stories. So I really missed that. I really missed that. And I was doing theatrical booking for a while. I still do it somewhat, but I saw an early screening of Scream, Smile too, and I was kind of taken aback by it because it was the same director that did the first one, which I liked but didn't love. But I just thought the second one was such a wild swing, and it gave me that charge that I had back when I saw some of the early films that we talk about in here. So I just inquired with the people that I knew at Paramount, like, how hard would it be to get me to have a conversation with Parker Finn? And to my surprise, they set it up pretty quickly. And so that became the first new interview, is talking to somebody who I think right now is doing a lot of really interesting stuff within the studio system for horror. Mm-hmm. And once that happened, I was like, well, let me ask for somebody else. Let me see how much further I can get. And a good friend of mine is Craig Perry, who's the producer of both the Final Destination and the American Pie franchise. And
who's also a big Silver Pictures veteran.
Yes. And he has always been a kind supporter of my work in general over the years. And I knew through him that John Watts is the reason Final Destination came back, because they've been trying to make a Final Destination for like 15 years. And John Watts just expressed interest because he said he loves that franchise. Yeah, we should make another one of those. And as soon as he put his name on it, it became what became Bloodlines. And so I reached out to Craig and said, would he talk to me? And initially he's like, well, he hates doing interviews, but you could try. I'll text him. And to my surprise, I got a brand new interview with John Watts as well. And I love Spider-Man. I mean, it's my favorite superhero ever since I was a little kid. So, and he is the director not only of Clown and the producer of Final Destination Bloodlines, but he did the 3 Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. So to get a chance to chat with him, and he indulged all my dumb Spider-Man questions. But his story is amazing. The whole way that Clown came about. And Rob, you'll get a kick out of this. I actually had to get approval to keep this in the book just because I think it was so quirky and funny. But basically we start getting into the weeds about Clown, and he's like, would you believe that somebody's going to do like a 4K of it now? And I'm like, who? What's going to mean? He's like, I don't know, some German company with like 4 covers. And I'm like, Turbine? And he's like, yes, that's it. Turbine's doing it. And like, we start geeking out. He's like, can you believe it? They're going to they made like 4 amazing covers, and they're doing like documentaries and all this stuff. And he's like, I guess I made a cult movie. Like, he was like shocked about it. I was like, I worked with Turbine on their Psycho box set. They're great guys. And again, this was like a year ago, so I had to email them, and I'm like, hey, did you announce your Clown disc yet? And they're like, no, we're like several months away. And I showed them the excerpt of like, well, this is how it came up in our conversation. And they're like, yeah, just leave that in there. Even if we announce it or not, that's really funny.
That's so cool that the Germans are putting out sometimes incredible. Like a Dieter, they put out copies. There's like 250 copies of something.
Yeah.
I don't even. I mean, look, now that Shout Factory, we lucked out to get Shout or Scream Factory to put out Hills Run Red. It was a replacement for something they couldn't deliver. And Scream Factory allowed us literally 2 weeks before the pandemic broke out. You know, they're like, hey, and they called me and asked me about doing stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we'll do it. And then the pandemic hit. We went into lockdown. And we had to deliver in 2 months. We went from March, we had to deliver what? Dave, was it June 1st, May 1st, something?
No, May. It was like May.
Yeah, May 1st. And then they put the disc out in like June.
Yep.
It was it was crazy. The only thing, it didn't have an O-ring. It didn't have a slipcase, which I'm like, come on, man. But they did give Dave's artwork that he did. There is a reversible sleeve, which is pretty dope. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And so, but that movie's now available, and it's only a Blu-ray. I mean, the movie was finished. It was not finished in 4K, so it was only finished.
Yeah, it was not finished in 4K, and they never conformed to print. So getting anything other than a Blu-ray would be very costly.
Right, but it would be cool to get a Turbine Media book.
It would be great if other countries want to do like a series of collectible covers. That would be
And
amazing.
I still think we should do a sequel.
Sure.
I got asked about it on the show the other day.
Yeah, why not?
I'd be a fan of that,
Why not? We could get Sophie Monk back. She's not doing anything.
She dissed us though, man.
I
We
know.
were so nice to her. And she was great in the movie.
I know.
And that was a good time. Anyway,
So she'll come back.
she will come back. She will come back. We'll pretend we didn't say anything that she said wrong about us. She didn't say anything about us, but
No, she didn't. Thank God. So, Rob, the one thing is you have these new interviews and you've lost interviews and then all the other interviews, but there's still more interviews that aren't in the book. Those are on the website.
Yeah, I think post-pandemic. I mean, I'm weird in that
Because we have a Hills interview.
Yeah,
that's on the website somewhere. That was exclusive for you guys.
I created a website under my own name, robertvgaluzzo.com. And it took me about a year to build it because obviously I have documentary and film work. I have interviews, I have articles, I have podcasts, and music. And I wanted just almost like a living resume where you can access all that material. So all of it is on my website, robertvgaluzzo.com. And anything that's in the book is not on the website. We wanted it to be exclusive for the book. But we mentioned it earlier. I wrote for FearNet. I wrote for Shock to Drop. I wrote for just about everybody. And the weird thing about that time period is just one day you can be let go and the website gets consolidated or swallowed by another entity, and all your material's gone and just in the ether, unless you use the Wayback Machine to try to find an old article. But again, I kept meticulous records and notes and folders and saved everything. So for the most part, every single article, interview, anything I've ever worked on is on my website. And I would recommend skimming on there because the fun thing about Icons of Fright and even the articles I did, I wasn't conscious of this when I was writing them for like the Blumhouse website, for example, or even FearNet, but they're all kind of timeless. I specifically wrote them to be evergreen. And so I stumble on things that I wrote from back in that period. I mean, we did a second interview for Icons of Fright specifically about The Hills Run Red. And I interviewed Sophie Monk for Shock to Drop. So that interview is up on the website. I did a bunch of interviews with you for Cold Water, which became and that's all restored on my website as well. So I don't know. I think we are of that generation that just feels the need to preserve this stuff. I mean, it's why we collect physical media. It's why we buy the books and watch the documentaries. Is we want to know everything about the things that inspired us. And if I can pay that forward in even a fraction of a way, then it's all worth it. And that's why the book exists. That's why I put all the docs for free online, because I just want people to watch them and enjoy them. And I hope it inspires somebody to do their own thing, whatever that is.
And I hope it inspires people to buy the book.
Yeah. And you know what? If I can say, I know a book is one thing. It's like, oh, cool, it's a book. And you see it and you see pictures of it or whatever.
Look how big that book is.
Well, what's fun for me is when people physically see it. Like I remember the first time I showed it to Dave Parker, I could see in your face that you were a little taken aback. You're like, oh, wow, this is wow. And he opened right in the middle and I unironically right to his interview.
Like literally, I just opened the book and there was my interview. I'm like, I couldn't have.
We laughed. It was pretty funny how that worked.
Yeah,
out.
it was amazing.
but yeah, I do encourage people. So listen, this is printed on Amazon, so it's available primarily on Amazon. I recommend the hardcover. Put it in your wish list. It's probably going to go down in price for a couple of days during Black Friday or that era. I mean, everything kind of goes down. So if you're on the fence about it, that is the time to pick it up. I guarantee you will find something in here that will inspire you. At least one quote that'll make you laugh or just something to inspire you. And we had the great Guillermo del Toro give us a quote right before we went to publish, which was really amazing. And he says, it's like having a fun, long conversation with old friends, insights, love of storytelling, and a lot of gossip and inside jokes.
Yep.
So the director of Frankenstein will not lead you wrong. That's what I say.
No. Rob, do you have anything else you want to that you're working on that you want to do, another follow-up to this book or another project that you want to make?
I don't know right now. I'm in that weird in between area where I really don't know what the next year will bring, and that's kind of cool. Like right now, I had so much fun reuniting with the Icons guys and doing that podcast. That's on the Burnettwork. Please.
By the way, I love that
pod.
I wish more people would watch it. It's really good.
Me too. I think it's fun, and
it's
also
really fun.
It's timeless conversations.
It's a horror hangout.
The stories that are in this book.
I love that. That should be a show.
Horror hangout.
Yeah.
Horror hangout. It's a total horror hangout.
I mean, Rob and I have been talking about. By the way, we want to do a show called Cinema Palette. So,
yes, and actually, Rob, you'll be proud of me for this. The inspiration for Cinema Palette is because I bought that Bergman box set.
The Criterion Bergman box set,
which
so you have to.
I was committed to starting in January of this year. And Rob, I want you to know I am 4 films away from completing it. I will have seen every single Ingmar Bergman movie in there. I've written a review every step of the way. So just yesterday, I was putting a preliminary article with all of my reviews of the entire box set and where I was in the moment that I saw them and how I feel about them. And it's fucking cool.
It is cool.
I'm proud of myself. And I think it's important that we celebrate and find filmmakers like that and keep talking about and as that was the whole point of Cinema Palette, is so nerds like us can recommend these filmmakers and really, I mean, I feel something when I watch those Bergman movies that I don't really feel in modern movies. And that's not to diss all modern movies. It's just movies aren't made the same way. And I can watch a Swedish romance from the 50s that speaks to me more now and be blown away. And that to me is like, wow, that's a good movie. That's cinema when something like that lasts.
Well, and no one's doing reaction videos to Cries and Whispers.
Oh my God.
I would do one for Hour of the Wolf.
Faces for that one.
I mean, I mean, I think what's interesting is that I think the modern age, especially film fans, have really lost something because like they're watching there's reaction videos and people are going back and finding things, but because I would say post 1990, Hollywood's output is only a certain kind of thing presented in a certain kind of way. There are exceptions to that. But when you go back and you watch, I mean, are the films of the thing about cinema is the first feature film was made the first years of the 20th century. The first feature film, The Kelly Gang, made in Australia, I think it was 1906, if memory serves. So there's only 120 years of feature films. So you can actually watch the progression from silence all the way to where we are now. And half of the life of cinema was literary based. I mean, a lot of it was based on novels and plays, and you had musicals, and you had a whole different mindset. And now the language of cinema, beginning with things like in 81, I really do use MTV as a demarcation point because it showed music videos changed editing, and it changed the fact people understood that human beings looking at visual information could register things in microcuts, images that were less than a second long. And people could register that. And suddenly, when filmmakers, the British invasion, when Tony Scott made The Hunger in 83, people were like, what the fuck is this? They didn't even understand when he's jumping back 3,000 years to ancient Egypt and jumping forward in the same montage. People were lost. And that language, Streets of Fire in 84, very much a music video movie. Flashdance, the montages, Adrian Lyne. And we really lived through a time, but unfortunately what has been lost is the literary nature of films and what Bergman was doing. And I mean, you look at Antonioni, you look at Bergman, you look at Tarkovsky, you look at Godard, you look at Francois Truffaut, Kurosawa. There was a language there that's been completely abandoned now because of the expectations of cinema. And whether rightly or wrongly, I don't know the answer to that, but it's just different.
But the funny thing is, too, what a lot of people don't realize, which would be interesting to do, is like go, oh, you like Heat? Let's look back. Oh, let's see where the inspiration for Heat came from with these older films.
But Heat is even a remake of Michael Mann's
yes.
TV movie LA Takedown that a lot of people don't know. There's even the same script. There's a scene. It's not between Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, but that scene at Cape Manalini's exists in a TV movie.
It's funny.
See, but that's interesting to me. But
it's funny. I listened to Vanity Fair put on this James Cameron interview. And
when he goes through his whole career.
Where he goes through his whole career. And what was interesting when he, right at the beginning, he talks about Terminator, and he actually, he goes, well, Terminator was just a slasher movie. And he was so inspired, he goes, I thought it would be a John Carpenter type filmmaker. And he talked about Carpenter and Halloween and its influence on the Terminator so much. It was just refreshing that he even brought that up.
Oh yeah,
on that interview, it was like, oh, this is cool. He goes, yeah, Linda Hamilton, Jamie Lee Curtis. It's just like the final girl. It was like, he goes, we just changed it, and it became something more because of the sci-fi trope. But really, it was a slasher movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that was the thing.
Cool which is cool to someone at that level to acknowledge what the influence was and what he was making at the time, even though he was augmenting it into his own sort of,
I think what's missing today is when we were all growing up, there were magazines like Starlog and Fangoria and Cinefantastic. There were shows like That's Hollywood that was narrated by Tom Bosley. Even on Showtime and HBO, there were interstitials with documentary materials about how movies were made. And if you saw, I'm old school, so Star Wars, the making of Star Wars, the Empire Strikes Back making of that went back into cinema history and showed things like The Thief of Baghdad.
Yeah. Great stunts. The making of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, the great and all these things. So there was a whole generation of people like all of us that grew up with these. By the way, if you haven't seen it on Disney Channel, there is a spectacular 2-part documentary on the making of the Avatar movies.
Right.
It is I'll tell you something. I think we did a really good job on Chronicles of Narnia and Superman and all that, but the behind the scenes footage, this 4K footage is fucking next level. And it made me, I watched this thing on Disney Channel. I'm like, God damn it. We should have made that. We would have been the guys. Like, we are the people that pioneered, and nobody's doing them. And to see this on Disney, they had a red carpet premiere the other night for this documentary. And I'm like, God damn.
I know.
I mean, we were lucky. Our X-Men documentaries were nominated for X-Men 2, for best. We were nominated for best special features or best in 2003.
Yeah, when they mattered.
X-Men. Well, we were defeated by Lord of the Rings, and also my Tron documentary lost to MASH, but it was nominated. It was an honor to be nominated. But to see this stuff come out again and to have it is real special. It's a great thing. Now that we've finished our therapy session for the night.
All right. Well, we should wrap it up too.
Yeah, there's a few super chats. Thomas Logan writes in.
Let's get those. And
Thomas Logan reminds us that he says, Dave, I'm glad you mentioned still not having seen one battle after another. It's back in 1570 IMAX at the Regal Irvine Spectrum from December 12th through 17th. I will go back and see it in IMAX. I can't wait. And he also goes on to say, Shelby Oaks is awful. I literally laughed at times.
Haven't seen it.
But here's the thing. First-time filmmaker. YouTuber, transition, put himself out there. I mean...
Hey, look, he went and did it. It's a win.
Yeah, it's a win. And he got distributed by Neon. And he got more money to make it. So, by the way, you jive-ass turkey. Subscribe to the channel. So thank you for that.
Nice.
Miss 50 and Still Metal says, you three have shown up for the true love of horror while some show up for the insta-wank fame dopamine. Icons of Fright is a love letter, and Uncle Creepy's Comedy of Tragedies are both books about getting back to the soul of horror. Absolute must-reads.
All right.
Wow. Thank you.
Well, that's very nice to say. It's,
It is. It's such esteemed company.
Hey, man, like you said, we're out there slinging.
That's right. People are doing their thing.
Yeah.
What's next?
That's it. We're done.
We're done.
We can end it. What can we do? What do you, I think we've done as Gaff said in Blade Runner, we've done a man's job, sir.
So long. Farewell.
This is a great show, you guys. Thank you. Rob G, thank you. Icons of Fright is available right now. You can go to Amazon, by the way, and put both Icons of Fright and Consensual Violence, the graphic novel by Del James, in your cart. And by the way, I think both are stocking stuffers. So if you have a really
big stocking for Rob's book.
You do. You need a bit, or put it under the tree. Either way. If you have a really uptight aunt, give her Consensual Violence, and if you have a young impressionable daughter, give her Icons of Fright.
And stay tuned for the Two Robs and Dave's Horror Hangout coming soon.
There you go. That's a great show. Why not do that? Horror Hangout?
Why not?
I think it's great.
Perfect. It's done, guys. It's done.
There you go. Got to do.
Be mid-afternoon on Sundays. Right after Let's Get Physical Media will be the Horror Hangout.
Well.
By the way, my girlfriend wants to know if you ever sleep, because these shows go on for.
I do sleep, but you know what? I don't sleep well. Because I have to get up and take care of the dogs. They get me up in the middle of the night. I have to go out and give them treats and let them pee and do what they do. By the way, Thomas Logan says I might have missed one. Let me just go back and say, oh no, I did. I read Sentimental Value. I read that. Hang on. No, I think I've got them all. I don't unless
if not, he'll let you know about it later.
Yes. And tomorrow. I mean, we have another show. Do I sleep? I'm going to go sleep. By the way, tomorrow at 11 a.m., the 5th anniversary Let's Get Physical Media will air.
Will Dieter be wearing a bow tie?
He does dress up. Dieter does dress up. I can't believe we've been doing it for 5 years.
Look at congrats.
What you should do is you should collect every title that you've talked about for 5 years and put it around.
Oh my God! My friend Alvaro was doing that. He actually was making a spreadsheet of every title. He sent me like the first. I don't know. I was looking at it, going, I can't even. There's no way. There's no way. But he started making literally a spreadsheet of everything we ever mentioned.
Oh my God!
It was insane. So, what are you going to do? I don't know. But so that's tomorrow. So anyway, Rob G, where can people find you on social media? Where's your website?
You can find me on my website, robertvgaluzzo.com. You can email me through there if there's anything you like on the website. And again, you can watch my first 2 documentaries, Psycho Legacy and Analog Love, The Art of the Mixtape, for free on YouTube. It's free.
Nice.
So check those out. And the Icons of Fright podcast on the Burnettwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really good. And Dave, where can people find your work? Where's like Coldwater?
Tubi. You can find almost everything on Tubi except The Hills Run Red, which is not available anywhere to stream for free. You have to buy it. Don't ask me why.
Yeah, I it's never been on like cable either, has it?
No, it's baffling to me.
I don't understand why people haven't been able to see it. Hey, look, my movie's been out of print and sitting in a warehouse for 20 years. So
crazy.
I would really 2026. I'd really like to be able to get my Film Free Enterprise out remastered to the world. It's incredibly frustrating to have only directed one movie with my childhood idol, and people can't see it. I look forward to people canceling me for some jokes in that film. Come at me, bro.
Come at me.
Well, everybody, I want to thank you all for being here, generously supporting the channel via Super Chats and tips. We had an incredible member call today. By the way, it was 5.5 hours long, talking to your channel members today.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was an amazing... I talked to one of our oldest members, not oldest meaning in terms of age, but in terms of she was there from the very beginning, Modesty Maltese. And if you know your comic books, you know what she's referring to. But I never thought anybody would make me look at the Godfather films, my favorite movies, differently. She did today.
Wow.
And I was blown away by the conversation we had. All the conversations we had were great, but I still can't believe the conversations we had about Godfather 1, 2, and 3. And she actually changed my long-held opinions about the movies, which that doesn't usually happen. But that's what those membership... You can have your life changed before your eyes in the Robservations member chats. Bi-weekly, every other Saturday. Amazing. You never know what's going to happen.
Woo!
So, yeah. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for watching the show. I want to thank Del James, too, and his lovely wife, Chayla, for coming on the show and sharing his memories with us. That was amazing. And Dave Parker for making this happen. And thank you all.
And happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Yep. And going into 2026, who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows?
You never...
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, everybody.
Good night.
And remember... Every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen.
With your eyeballs.
With something.